a new area of developing rotation with this storm. So still enough concern to definitely keep an eye on this storm. But again, we've got a storm that has shown a history of some rotation with it that is going to be lifting up to the north. So again, a little geography here. Here's Highway 7, here's Highway 77. So Galinda, Bruceville Eddy, Lorena, Robinson, kind of in that kind of triangle there. Rosenthal Parkway's up here. That's going to be an area that we're going to be watching as this storm lifts to the north and northeast. No confirmed tornado right now. Radar indication that we had some decent rotation. It has come down a little bit, but the storm showing the potential of possibly redeveloping some of that rotation inside of it. This is pulling out of Granger is where this is looking. I can't, it won't let me on my program, sorry. So yeah, so I was talking with our producer in the ear, we're in between radars. So typically north of the Waco area, we see from the Fort Worth radar. South, we picked from the Granger radar, and you can see a little range. I think I can possibly see if I can make it switch here on the fly. But again, we're watching an area of decent rotation. It's coming and going a little bit with this storm, and see if I can turn the screen. Yeah, so we've got broad rotation at least in this storm. You can see some of the latest still sitting in that area, crossing Highway 7 near and east of the Bruceville Eddy area. So we're really watching areas that are going to be east of I-35 with this storm. Again, I know this kind of caught a lot of folks off guard, and kind of surprised me when this storm started to strengthen. And this is one of those days that we don't expect any widespread severe weather, but we're going to have to watch, and you can see this kind of shows too. So here's that initial rotation. I think here's where the area where it's starting to gather back together. So we're going to have to keep this on a broad brush look, and that's why the National Weather Service put a pretty large area, not a real small area. If you watched yesterday, the tornado warnings were a pretty small corridor where they knew the rotation was where it's moving. Here, we've got a storm that's evolving some. So kind of taking and went from just your regular thunderstorm, now picking up characteristics of a more supercell thunderstorm. So it's in that developing phase of the rotation. So again, if you live even around Chilton, this rotation is going to go near and just west of you. So if you live anywhere from Chilton to Galinda and eventually up towards the Robinson area, you don't have to be in your tornado safe area right now in Robinson, but it's a good time to know where's everybody at, where's a good safe place to be. Good time to not be out on the roadways as we're watching a storm that could potentially produce a tornado. Also has the potential to produce some hail inside this storm as well. We're talking about at least quarter-size hail, but the radar is starting to indicate some bigger hail than that. Hail core near and around the Chilton area, $quarter to $half size. That also starts to pick up on the potential that this storm could be increasing as well. As that hail core goes up, it's becoming more of a mature storm. That could mean that the broad rotation inside the storm is increasing as well. So again, a couple areas of rotation. I really think it's going to be this area sitting near Highway 7 that we're a little more worried about. And again, it's lifting up to the north and northeast. So the storm is going to affect areas in that kind of southern and southeastern portions of McLennan County as that storm continues to move its way up to the north and northeast. Right now, just a radar indicated. We've just heard from emergency management. They've got their spotters activated. No reports from anybody out in the field. Again, probably scrambling to get everybody where they need to be on something like this. A lot of folks are down in Temple trying to help the folks there. But again, sometimes you get these storms that go from regular thunderstorms to boom, spin up something, and that's kind of what we're dealing with this system right now. Again, wide view. What we're watching on all this, really, this is the only thunderstorm that of any merit. We've got a weak little shower that's north of Killeen, a few other weak little shower thunderstorm activity up to the northeast of Waco, and this one storm that has quickly gained strength here over the last 20 to 30 minutes. Now enough rotation inside that storm that it has warranted a tornado warning with it. So let's put this in a loop, kind of give everybody an idea of the direction it's moving. And again, it's moving to the north and northeast. Typically, when storms get a little more rotation, they'll start turning a little more to the right, and that's part of the reason that this warning kind of, it goes a little north, but it's definitely got the northeast there. So again, folks in Robinson, it's all going to depend on the exact track of this. If the storm starts turning a little more right, we're going to start talking about areas along Highway 6 from Perry to Riesel, eventually potentially Mart. This could be a system. If it holds together, we've got the potential of some decent hail, and you can see in the last few frames some of those darker purple showing up. That's that potential of some of that larger hail that could be developing. And also, the storm is getting stronger overall, so that means the rotation, at least broad rotation, is getting stronger inside this storm as well. So even if we don't have a tornado with this storm, we've got a rather strong storm that's crossing Highway 7 right now, just between the Chilton and Galinda area, moving right across Highway 77. So that hail core moving near Galinda. It's going to move near and just east of the Galinda area. And then we've got to watch this area of rotation that's sitting down there as well. Let's see what the latest scan. Still not overly impressive rotation, but you can still see some of those reds and greens there. But again, that rotation looks like it's moving in the storm from one location to the other. So it could take it a few scans to kind of get to where we really get too worried about it. Right now, the strongest part of that storm, again, right between the Chilton and Galinda area. So if you, again, we're talking northern portions of Falls County, we'll start to get a little more concerned about some of the south and southeastern portions of McLennan County. This warning does not include the Waco area. So Waco is not under this warning. There's some spotty showers, particularly in the northern parts of Waco up around Belmead. Those are not severe. This is one single storm that we're focusing on. And again, we're focusing on it because of that tornado threat and again, the hail threat increasing with this storm as well. Folks in Bell County, we got some folks that are definitely have weather worries anytime the word tornado comes up again. Again, if you're just tuning in, the tornado yesterday, at least one of them so far has been confirmed as an EF2, the one that went through Western Temple. Bell County is quiet. We have one little shower right along the county line that's moving across parts of Fort Cavazos. That's not going to affect anybody. Again, the area we're watching right now is a pretty decent hail core that's moving across right up Highway 77 right now, moving its way kind of north of the Chilton area. So we did get a report of some damage to a home in the Bruceville Eddy area. We're not 100% sure if it's tornado. Again, that could be that first little area that is somewhat weakened now, but we'll get our newsroom to check on that. But some emergency management reporting some damage to a home near Bruceville Eddy. Not exactly sure where in there, but again, the main rotation now may be shifting a little farther down to the south and to the east. So if you live anywhere, if you got the alert from our app or your phone just went off or you just happen to be watching TV, again, you got to remember this is more rural areas, so you're not going to have many areas that have the tornado sirens to warn you. You need to go ahead and take the correct precautions. You need to go ahead and get your family together, find somewhere good and safe. If you're watching on your TV, I don't want you sitting in your living room next to all the windows watching. Grab your phone. Pull up KWTX.com. If you don't have our free KWTX weather app, get it there, click it. You can watch our stream right there. We'll be there with you through this. That's the one thing we try to do is keep you calm is the number one thing. We want you to be somewhere safe. We were extremely happy that we made it through yesterday's storms without any death, only very minimal injuries, and that's folks heeding the warnings and taking the correct precautions. Now, not a guaranteed tornado ongoing right now, but it's better to be in your safe place in case there's a tornado than being caught off guard if a tornado does move in. So what we're going to see with this is, and it's going to be one where you won't be able to see it, because since this is moving northerly, you're going to have the heavy rain and hail core move through. Then you're going to see a quick decrease in the storm activity. Probably see the winds go really light. A lot of times you'll see that where you just go through the hail core and all calm, then there's that potential tornado that could follow in behind. So again, on Highway 77 right now, heavy rain and hail. Storm is lifting up to the north. Rotation right now is mainly along Highway 77. We've had a little area of rotation there on the far western side of that storm. We've had a volunteer fire department in Chilton reported rotation visible just off of Highway 7 near Chilton. So that again is in that area we're watching right there. So appreciate emergency management and fire departments out there helping us out to get a view of this storm. So again, we're getting some verification of rotation, not any verification of any tornado with this storm, but again, it kind of fits in that area where we're seeing, again, not great overall, but again, some broad rotation, and again, a storm that definitely looks like it's being strengthening right now. And this is the latest view, still a little bit there. It's not, and you can kind of see some different areas where the reds and greens. So the radar not giving us just a definite guarantee that there's any tornadic activity in this, but you add that on top of some reports of some damage and volunteer fire department. We appreciate those volunteer fire departments. A lot of them go to the Skywarn trainings to learn what to look for, the storm features to watch. But again, this storm right now is moving north-northeast. It is taking more of a right-hand move, so that is starting to make it where it's less likely it's going to impact your areas like Lorena, Hewitt. Robinson still wants you to be safe. The right-hand turn is a good news, bad news. It's good for the folks that are on the western side. Typically, a right-hand turn means that rotation's stronger inside the storm and it's strengthening. So this moving up to the northeast, now we're going to be talking more potentially from Perry to Riesel, areas like that, more of northern Falls County. This is going to take it away from any of the Waco metro area, it looks like. Again, Robinson's still in that iffy area depending on how this storm completely tracks, but it has in the last few scans it's turned a little bit more to the northeast. Overall, the majority of this is going to miss the Marlin area when we talk rotation with it. That hail core could be impacting areas, particularly west and northwest of the the Marlin area with that storm. So let me move this over here. Again, latest, if you're just now tuning in, again, second day in a row, I apologize for interrupting regularly scheduled programming. We would prefer not to have to be doing this, but the reason that we're on right now is a new tornado warning was issued about 20 minutes or 30 minutes ago for the northern portions of Falls County and the southern portions of McLennan County. Runs until 6:15. It's for a storm that has the potential to produce a tornado. It's had some significant rotation. We've had volunteer fire department in Chilton verify some reported rotation with the storm. We also have reports of the potential of some damage in and around the Bruceville Eddy area. And we did just get word that the Storm Prediction Center is going to issue a new tornado watch for some of our southeastern counties. So this is showing that the overall environment, the way they see it, may be more inviting, I guess, for the rotation to kind of start with these storms. So and May has just been one of those months, unfortunately. So again, right now, the overall mesocyclone, the more low-level levels are not looking all that good. The National Weather Service, from their view, they got a little more time to look through all the scans than we do here on TV. They said the actual core of the storm, what they call the mesocyclone, the big kind of spinning driving force of this, is still strengthening. So again, these storms fluctuate, but you can just tell by the amounts of purple that's showing up here. Just take that back from just a few scans from when the original warning was issued. See how much it changed. I mean, it went from not much to a lot of those deep purples in there. Nothing else. Definitely seeing an increasing hail core, and you can see that. This product is typically a little delayed. So what happens is it takes the radar data, processes the data, and then tries to figure out what the hail looks like. So this is usually a few minutes behind on where it actually is, and we start getting when we get from the green up to the yellow, that's when we start getting $50 to golf ball size hail. So pretty decent hail core now traveling north of Highway 7. So it's going to start interacting with areas near and along the Highway 6 corridor. So Perry, Riesel, some of those areas. You've got some pretty decent storm potential moving into your area as the storm continues. Again, it's moving mainly northeast, but in the last few scans, this storm has been taking a little more of a kind of a northeasterly, nearly easterly jog with it over the last few minutes. So again, we'll put this in loop. This is the last hour of data. This has definitely become a more organized thunderstorm, having more of that supercell kind of look and that pretty significant hook on that storm, and the storm hail core definitely increasing as well with this storm. And that hail core is going to be sliding right up to the Perry and Riesel area. So if you live between Perry, Riesel, and Marlin, you need to be prepared for some potential hail that could be up to golf ball size hail. And then we're going to have to watch this developing rotation that is sitting near and just north of the Chilton area. Fortunately, we have volunteer fire department there in Chilton keeping a close eye on this. We've got emergency management watching this as well. And then we're watching this closely with our radar network as the storm gradually moving up to the north. It's pretty slow moving, and that could be a sign too of the storm likely sitting on some kind of boundary where it like hit it and that just kind of spun it up like a top. We see that happen sometimes, particularly if a warm front's lifting through and it hits a storm like this, and could be something like this, a boundary we just didn't see that's causing this storm to get a little more rotation that's going on inside of it. So, sorry. Got crew reaching in to try to talk to figure out what's going on. All right, so we got a new update from the National Weather Service on the warning. It's still going as of right now. It's still storm capable of producing a tornado, saying near Galinda, about 9 miles west of Marlin. It's moving now. The new update does have it moving nearly due east. So that's kind of that strong right-hand turn that this storm has been doing. So if it moves due east, it's going to make this even. So Marlin, you need to be taking tornado precautions because this takes a easterly turn. So I would say anywhere from Chilton to Marlin and northward to Perry and Riesel. That's kind of where this, because if it turns more due east, then we're going to be talking more Highway 6 corridor. So this is going to be one of those forecasts that we adjust and change with it, because this is a rapidly evolving thunderstorm that grew from a very unorganized cluster of showers and weak thunderstorms to a pretty significant supercell thunderstorm in the time of about 30 minutes. And the reason that it's turning and changing as the storm grows taller in the atmosphere, the winds change out of direction. So as the storm grows and gets bigger, it's interacting with jet stream winds out of a different direction, and it's going to be interacting with the environment around it because if you get warmer air moving in from the southeast, sometimes these storms can turn and kind of head and feed into where that moisture is. So that's something that we'll be watching with this. But yeah, kind of an evolving one. So folks in the Robinson area, I told you to take your precautions. Again, you can kind of just sit tight, keep an eye on. Right now, the worst of it's shifting east of you. I don't want you getting out, running around or doing anything. If you're in the polygon for the warning, you need to respect the polygon, need to wait it out. But right now, the worst of everything is probably sitting from Chilton up to around the Galinda area eastward. And we're going to have to watch. Marlin, you're just due east of this rotation. You're probably picking up some heavy rain, maybe some hail that's moving in there. And again, this rotation is going to be sliding kind of northeasterly and maybe turning more due easterly as it continues to work its way through there. So let's go to the velocity again one more time and kind of see if we're getting, we're starting to get a little better. It's still not screaming at us that a tornado's on the ground, but it is showing again some pretty decent, would be, the greens would be winds coming out of the south. Reds are those winds coming in or pointing south, and these would be winds pointing up to the north. So kind of shows that counterclockwise rotation that we typically watch. And you can see again, there's a hook there. That's definitely something that's visible on radar. So that's something. Okay. So yeah, so we just got word another tornado warning is going to be coming in. To account for the change in the way this storm's moving. So again, the storm, or the National Weather Service, is pivoting as the storm. You got a whole bunch of meteorologists watching this, trying to figure out which way this is going. So let me give you the latest. If I may have to move this map. So this is a little wider, and I'd want to show. We had this built for our show showing the tornado watch out west. Here's the new tornado watch that's across the southeastern parts of our area. It does not include Waco, Temple, Killeen, but it does include our southeastern counties. This watch is going to run until the one out in West Texas runs till 11, and the Storm Prediction Center's placed this till 11 as well. So this is completely different setup out west. This is a dry line setting up. Here in our area, this is more just kind of some boundaries left over, storms that could form, hit those boundaries, and spin up. So this is a completely different setup than what we're seeing out west. And I don't expect activity to last all the way till 11 o'clock. There's a chance this is the only one we have that hits everything right. But again, it's one of those now we've got to keep our attention, because we've seen the very first storm really have this ability. Now we've got to see what kind of boundary does this storm leave. So it's going to be one of those evenings. If you're in these tornado watch areas, doesn't mean you have to go canceling all your plans, but it does mean that we need you to pay close attention to the weather. So again, the new warning that's come out from Falls County, it's for the potential of a tornado, hail up to about ping pong ball size. So that's the hail core here sitting near and north of the Marlin area. And you see this area of rotation here that has definitely taken shape. Let's get another look at the radar, or at the velocity. Got some, you definitely see there's something in here right on Highway 7, just to the, again, nearly due west, kind of slightly southwest of Marlin. So if you know this area of Highway 7 between Chilton and Marlin, that's where that rotation is sitting. And again, the storm is making a little more of a turn due easterly. So Marlin, you are now in more of the crosshairs with this latest warning compared to what we were watching yesterday, or just with the original warning. Now, the original warning I would say southern McLennan County, you're getting less likely that you got any worries since this storm has turned. Now, I want you to watch this. We'll go the last 30 minutes of this. I just want you to watch how little this thing has moved. So we're also dumping a lot of heavy rain in here as well. So this storm, again, has likely caught some kind of boundary. It's wanting to turn along that boundary, but as it does, we're seeing a pretty healthy notch on this storm, a little hook echo with this storm. Velocity not screaming at us that there's a tornado on the ground, but the reflectivity showing there's a storm definitely trying to rotate and to produce a storm with it. So, yeah, checking the weather service. The hail core coming down a little bit may mean that we just dumped a pretty good amount of large hail there just on the northern side of the Marlin area near and west of Highway 6. So again, what we're watching, kind of the structure of this area, the reason that there's no rain right here, this is kind of the updraft area of this thunderstorm. Where we get the storm hail over here, that's that downdraft. That's where everything's dumping down. But right in here, we've got the storm wrapping around, and that's what this hook is where the storm is wrapping around right about where the updraft is. So that helps to kind of wrap in and pull up, and that can start to stretch out and potentially produce a tornado. So we have kind of the building blocks. Marlin, again, you're right in the middle of that hail core right now, but again, a lot of times when we talk the normal progression of thunderstorms, say if they're moving south or southeast or kind of on that northwest easterly turn, a lot of times the hail core is one problem, the rotation's another. Well, this storm, you're going to get the hail core, and then you could possibly get the potential tornadic area since it's moving more on an east-northeasterly track. You do not need to be driving on Highway 6 if you live anywhere between the Waco and Marlin area. We've got a nasty hail core that's right now crossing between Perry and Marlin. We've got the potential, the tornado that could move through that area, and kind of update. And the National Weather Service is kind of hedging the bets that this storm continues to turn, because they have went now nearly all the way down to the Reagan area. Bremond, you're not under this warning. Casa, you're not under this warning. But now this new warning is saying that, hey, this was originally more northeast, then it's turned east. Could it turn more southerly? So you live anywhere in around north or east of this particular warning, I need to start paying attention. McLennan County, you're no longer under any warnings. That original warning has been trimmed for the McLennan County area. So they expired the original warning, replaced it with this new one due to the new projections of where this storm is moving now that it's got more of an east-northeasterly track. And again, Marlin, we told you earlier you were out of the path of this with this kind of pinwheeling and turning. Now, if you live in Marlin, you need to be in your tornado safe area. You've been dealing with likely extremely heavy rain and some hail. Now you're going to get a little break in the rain, but that's when that potential tornado could be working its way in. So Marlin's the biggest city we're watching. Chilton, you're kind of on the back edge of this rotation right now. Lott just barely missing it. But again, Marlin is right on that. So here's Highway 7 right here. Here's Highway 6. We're going to be watching along both of those highways right now. The hail core sitting near and just to the north of the Marlin area right now. And again, we're still talking about the potential of hail that could be anywhere from $50 to maybe golf ball size in and around the Marlin area. So up and down Highway 6, crossing parts of Highway 7 is where the hail core of this storm is. But it's not just the hail that we're worried about. This is a storm that, I mean, if you just take kind of the wide view, you can pick out, this hook right here. That's what we call a hook echo. This is a supercell thunderstorm that's definitely got some mid-level decent rotation inside of it that's causing this storm to spin. Now, again, wide view across central Texas. This is the only show in town. So again, we've got spotty showers that are in around parts of McLennan County. These aren't even producing any lightning. If you show you the lightning right now, you can see there's a decent amount there in that storm in the central and northern parts of Falls County. Bell County, fortunately for you, everything quiet. The storm is not heading towards Bell County, so we're not going to see any repeat of what we had yesterday, so that's definitely good. But again, a storm that has the potential to produce some tornadic activity sitting right in the kind of central and northern portions of Falls County. You can see the last hour, you can see as it kind of transitioned, it was moving up to the northeast pretty quick. Then the rotation started in the storm. Again, there's likely a boundary sitting somewhere right around Highway 7 that this storm hit, and now it turned northeast and now nearly turning due easterly, and it is not moving fast at all. This is probably moving at 10, 20 miles per hour, nothing like the storms that were moving yesterday at 40 to 50 miles per hour. So a storm that we're going to have to keep an eye on, a storm that could last a while. This current warning runs until 6:45, so we may be here with you for a little while. And again, for folks that were in the Bell County area, we'll try to get some info for you. I mean, everything right now in Bell County is more the cleanup and looking back. We will get all that information for you we can, but right now we want to make sure we're keeping people safe on the looking at now and looking ahead to the future kind of thing of what's going on in the Falls County area. Another look at the velocity. I mean, we're getting these purples are where the radar's having some issues where it's hitting stuff that causes the colors there. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Got a little. All right. So this is probably the brightest of the rotation. And remember, if you were watching yesterday, we had the whites and the blues. That starts to see that enhanced wind. So again, this is looking from a radar down in the northeastern portions of Williamson County near the town of Granger. So it's looking up to the northeast. So these bright greens are winds that are pushing down towards the radar. Reds are winds that are pushing away. So we have a couplet sitting near and just to the south of Highway 7. Folks in Marlin, you need to be in your tornado safe area now. We're talking inside, away from windows, in the lowest floor of your home. You want to put as much between you and that tornado potential outside. If you live in a mobile home, a manufactured home, you've got a few minutes. Again, this is not a fast-moving storm, particularly in and east of Marlin. Find somewhere safe to go. This is not something you want to be driving your car. We had video of cars got thrown off the roads. They got flipped in the storm yesterday. Their mobile home, they got nearly completely obliterated. We don't want people in those unsafe areas. We want people to be in a safe structure, waiting for this storm and not being outside trying to look at this storm. It's not going to be something you'll be able to see real easily. But again, we have an enhanced area of rotation with this storm that's sitting near and just to the south of Highway 7 that's moving in an easterly direction. I'm going to kind of go back and forth on this and watch. Yeah, you can kind of see that rotation running right near. Now keep your fingers crossed. It may move just a little south of Marlin. You see that rotation's pretty much riding right near and to the south of Highway 7. So again, this storm is pretty much moving due east, but it's going to move across parts of the Marlin area. So here's Highway 7 here. So here's Highway 6 that takes the loop around. So again, the central and southern portions of the city of Marlin, you've got a pretty healthy rotation that's working its way into your area. So if you live anywhere in the Marlin area, you need to be in your tornado safe area. Find a place that's safe away from windows that you can sit and ride out this storm that's slowly moving its way into the city of Marlin. So again, the storm moving more due east. So it's going to ride right near and just south of the Highway 7 corridor is the latest kind of direction this is moving. So that's putting it on a nearly due easterly track that's going to work towards Marlin. Then we're going to be working through some of the more rural areas of eastern Falls County. Then we'll have to watch if the storm survives. It could make its way possibly even farther east. Folks in Limestone County, we don't have any warnings for your area. We'll continue to keep an eye on the overall direction of this. But again, this storm is moving to the east at about, I'd say 20 miles per hour. So again, a slow moving storm. It may pick up velocity once it kind of gets and riding along the boundary that it wants, but right now kind of shifted, kind of turned, and again, kind of bullseyed right on the Marlin area. Yeah, so we got some video or pictures sent in to us of some damage. I told you that original area. Excuse me, sorry, I had to get a drink. So we had the damage there. It's near the Bruce Valetti area. It looks like some carport barn damage there. That was with that initial area of rotation that was up near I-35. That dissipated, and then it formed into this other area that is now moving east. So we've got some damage that we've seen there. The good news is, so again, that damage was up around Bruce Valetti. Good news is for folks in the Bruce Valetti area, this system has moved well away from you. It is moving its way to the east. So again, let's go back on the wide view and kind of show you what's going on. Again, overall quiet. Folks in parts of Waco, even Robinson, you're getting some of that rain. You may be worried, hey, is that storm actually moving our area? Earlier, we had a tornado warning that covered parts of the south and eastern parts of McLennan County. We just got some normal little showers that are working through. Nothing in Bell County. We do have the tornado warning that is in effect for this storm that is very slow moving, that is moving pretty much towards the Marlin area right now. This storm is pretty much parked right on Highway 7. So let's give it another little loop here and kind of show you what's happening with this. Again, the storm will take you back to the middle of towards the end of our 5 o'clock show. That's when that storm started to show just a few signs of rotation. So it's a 6:08. So I mean, in less than 30 minutes, or just about 30 minutes, went from nothing to a pretty significant rotation and has been turning and changing direction. Again, a very well-defined hook echo with this storm that's going on right now. And again, the rotation sitting right along and just to the west of the Marlin area. I'm going to plop something on here real quick that's just going to look like a bunch of crazy on the map. This is a tool that we can use to potentially see any debris. It typically only occurs when you're more over more populated areas and more well-defined rotation, but just wanted to make sure I was looking at everything with this. And again, we're getting some issues with the radar, but it does pick up. Again, we got green that's coming in, reds, and the purple there. It's kind of the going the way. So again, this area of rotation, the radar got some bad data in it, but again, we're still watching this area of rotation that is sitting right near the Highway 7 area. There's a possibility this rotation makes it where it just south of the Marlin area. If you live in Marlin, I still need you to be in your tornado safe area. You're getting some decent hail. You're likely getting some high wind. This rotation is trying to turn more east-southeast. This thing has done a nearly 180 turn in the last 30 minutes or so. But again, we still need you to be safe in your area. You're home, stay inside, wait till the warning has expired. It's just going to take a little longer than your typical tornado warning. Again, this is a very slow-moving thunderstorm. And again, we don't need anyone traveling south from Riesel to Marlin on Highway 6. We've got a decent hail core there, and there's a potential you drive through heavy rain into a very dangerous part of this thunderstorm and not see what's going on. So take the tornado warning, take it with what it's meant for. It's meant to tell you an imminent tornado is either occurring now or likely to occur, as the data is showing us. So again, a very significant storm. We just got a new scan. The hook not quite as impressive, but again, still there. So we still have that hail core that's moving through the Marlin area and just east of there. And we're again talking about the potential of upwards of golf ball size hail that could be occurring with this thunderstorm. That hail core shifting a little more down to the south with this. And again, it's not nailing the location real well on the estimated hail, but I'm going to show you it's displaced down to the south, but it's picking up in that Marlin area. And we start getting these yellows, that's when we're starting to get the potential of the golf ball size hail being picked up by the radar. So again, I don't think the location is real great on it. I think it's probably more in the Marlin area and points up to the northeast here, but anywhere you're seeing these dark purples, we have the potential of some golf ball size hail that could be occurring. And again, we've got this rotation sitting right near or just south of Highway 6 that's going to be drifting to the east. So folks in Marlin, there's a chance this rotation misses you south, but again, we've got to heed the warning here. We need you in your safe place. You're not going to be able to see any kind of approaching rotation because we're just dealing with extremely heavy rainfall and again that hail that's likely occurring. I want to show you just the 1 hour rain and it's going to be increasing more in and around the Marlin area, but Highway 77 north of Chilton, potentially up to 2 inches of rain's already fallen with this storm just in the last hour. And that heavy rain has been sitting along Highway 6 for the last 20-30 minutes, and that's going to cause some potential flooding concerns as well. So to recap, we have a tornado warning that's in effect for Falls County. That's the only county under this warning right now. That does run until 6:45. Our computer's picking up. So what the Weather Service did is it kept the original warning and trimmed off the McLennan County part and then issued the new warning. So you'll see my computer flipping between 6:15 and 6:45. The 6:45 is the new warning. It's just hitting the way the computer sees it that thinks there's two different areas. So again, the 6:45 is the time we need to be concerned with. And again, it's for areas east of Chilton. It's particularly from the Marlin area east and southeast as you go into the more rural areas of Falls County. Bremond, you're not under this. Reagan is a community that's under this, so we'll have to watch. Again, particularly if it turns any more southeast. Right now it's more on an easterly track, so it would take it north of there. But again, if you live from Marlin south in the Falls County area and you're under this tornado warning, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. Right now, northern parts of Falls County from the Marlin area north, we're not as worried as much about the tornado concern right now as long as this storm stays on its current track, but hail could continue to be an issue and flooding rains. And you see the latest scan still showing, and we've got to watch this area a little right here. Sometimes you'll get the radar when it picks up potential debris can put a little ball of debris there. I'm not saying that's it right there, but again, it's still, let's see if the velocity is updated. We haven't had a great view of the velocity Let me just go to another product here and see. Now it's still, so again, we're getting, again, these purples is just some bad data coming in, but you're still getting the reds and the greens here. So again, that rotation is near and just to the southeast of the Marlin areas where we're watching right now with that, that rotation ongoing with that. Yeah, so that's pretty much putting it right in this area where this area would be showing the rotation. And again, I'm gonna check one more product here just so we, no, so the way this product works, if we saw a lot of dark blue, a little circle, sometimes it can pick up on some debris. So fortunately, we're not seeing that, but the radar definitely showing that area of potential rotation. So the National Weather Service just sent out a new update on this storm. Right now they have it moving east at 25. It may not even be moving that fast. Tornado potential and ping pong ball size hail. You know, when you add the winds, the overall the wind speeds haven't been overly strong. It's been a nearly stationary storm. So it's that dumping rain, it's that hail threat, and we're talking a long time that this hail could be falling due to the slow movement of this. And again, that potential tornado that's trying to develop just near and on the south and eastern side of the city of Marlin that's ongoing right now. We also have a tornado watch that was issued about the time just after this warning was issued. We have 2 tornado watches. This one doesn't involve both Central Texas other than San Saba County. That's going to be due to the dry line that's already firing some storms off this afternoon. Those should stay well off to our west. This area in the southeast, this is put together just recently by the Storm Prediction Center. And I'm going to look at a little bit of their wording on this so I can tell you what they're seeing with this right now. So again, isolated supercell or 2 is possible. So this is not going to be a widespread everybody dealing with, but a few of these strong supercells are possible. Again, that very large hail potential. Right now we're looking at about ping pong ball size, but it could be golf ball size or larger. And again, it's in areas that are east and southeast of the Waco Temple Killeen area. Again, watching in an area where it's just a little more conducive for these. Again, not widespread. Not all of us are going to deal with this. This could be the only one we have. But the environment's there where if a storm can get going, there's enough rotation in the atmosphere to allow this storm to strengthen really quickly. And that's something that we have to watch real closely with it. So the lightning, nothing crazy with it. But again, we're still seeing just the kind of classic supercell look, the rotation that's showing up with it. And you can see this is what we call a hook echo here. And again, we're watching this here. I'm interested to see in the next scan. Sometimes that can be stuff being lofted up or an increased rotation. Yeah. Okay. And if CD is back in, I mean, we can try to send him down on the southern side of this when he gets here. So we've got, sorry, I'm talking to myself in my ear here. We do have some video that we're trying to get into our system to show you of a funnel that was near the Chilton area. If I'm seeing some pictures of it, again, that's corresponding with this. And again, it's not a big fan of this here. This could be some debris that may be getting picked up. Not a guarantee that it is, but definitely showing some of the stronger rotation with this storm. Hopefully the radar will give us a little better. Yeah, this is getting more intense rotation. Now, little bits of good news with this. You can see a little bit of a drop in it there, but nothing of a guarantee. So one little bit of good news is it does look like the strongest rotation may stay just south of Marlin. Folks in Marlin, I still need you in your tornado safe area. We'll ride this out for a few more minutes, but near and south of Marlin along Highway 6, we've got some pretty stout rotation ongoing with this thunderstorm that is moving its way nearly due east and maybe turning a little bit southeast. So we're going to be talking about areas, again, from Reagan to the Marlin area. This is kind of the area along Highway 6 that we're talking about. So Marlin's still dealing with heavy rain. That rotation right now just southeast of the Marlin area. So I want to kind of show you distance-wise so it kind of give you an idea. It gets hard when we're so from pretty much downtown Marlin, we're talking less than 5 miles away is roughly where that rotation is with this storm. And we can see it a little better now with the radar. There's still some clutter with it, but these are the highest greens that we're seeing. You get some of these whites and blues. That's wind moving down towards the radar. You get these reds, so it's not 100% balanced, but enough that, and again, we take into account that we've seen video get sent in. We've had reports from emergency management and folks that have been out there that have seen a funnel even when it was around the Chilton area, and the rotation did not look as good. I'm looking at a picture. We'll try to get it to where we can show you on it, but The National Weather Service kind of agreeing. They just sent us an update saying there's very likely a tornado ongoing with this storm right now. So we've got myself, my team, I've got Jillian Johnson, and again, on the phone, if you don't have a way to get the weather, I know there are power outages from yesterday's storms. Our app is going to be a great resource. We're streaming our coverage here, Facebook, on our website, but we're also sending out push alerts to try to get folks to know what's going on. And very likely, we've got a tornado ongoing right now across areas near and south of the Marlin area, between there and Reagan, a very distinct hook, and even wrapping back up a little more. So in this area here, we've got the very good possibility. We've had reports of a funnel cloud, and again, and that was over in the Chilton area. It's going to be hard to get to this because you're going to have to get way down on the south side to kind of see up into this storm. But again, folks, from Reagan to Marlin, that's right about where this rotation is moving between those two towns, right along Highway 6, and moving pretty much due east with it. And again, I'll go back to the velocity product here, and yeah, it's pretty much crossing Highway 6, and this is the best velocity that we've seen with this storm. So we need people on the southern side of Marlin, between there and Reagan. We have to be prepared for a likely tornado on the ground right now as this storm's continuing to strengthen, become more well-defined, and we're going to see some strong winds that could be wrapping into parts of the Marlin area as well. So what we're watching here, the reds are winds moving this way, away from the radar. Greens are winds moving this way. So you can see a very distinctive, if you kind of think of the way these winds are going, rotation, a counterclockwise spin going on. And when we get these bright colors next to each other, that's when we start seeing that potential of a tornado. And again, we've got video that has been sent in to us, pictures been sent in to us, and we'll get that on air where we can show you as quickly as we can to give you some visual proof that goes along with what we're seeing radar-wise. But again, that rotation is sitting, again, it's right in this area here where we're watching the rotation. So just south of Marlin. Marlin, it's looking better and better for you that you're not going to get any tornado. But again, heavy rain, hail, lightning concerns, and we just want to, this storm's changed direction so much, we want to get it past you before we get out and get too safe with this. Again, you're still under that warning for this very slow moving storm that is trying to go east. But let's put it in the last hour and kind of show you how little this storm's moved in the last few minutes. But again, it went from moving north, now it's went east, and here in the last few frames, it's starting to turn a little more southeast. So that hail core sitting right along Highway 7 near and east of the Marlin area, that's going to work its way towards Cossie. We will have to be watching Cossie and maybe eventually Reagan. Definitely need to be watching Reagan, but potentially could be watching Bremond as this storm continues to make that dive down to the southeast. And if you're watching yesterday, we were talking about those storms that were taking that southeasterly turn, typically is a sign when they want to dive to the right. That's the rotation getting stronger inside of the storm. That's one thing that we watch, and this thing is just wrapped up like a pinwheel right now. So again, very distinct rotation ongoing with this storm, and again, it is right now crossing right across Highway 6 just south of the Marlin area. So real quick recap to kind of give you again the idea of what we're watching with this. Again, the only storm we're watching right now is this storm in Falls County. Waco, Temple, Killeen, Belton, all quiet. There's some spotty showers, central and northern portions of McLennan County up into parts of Bosque County with this storm. And again, we do have the watch that's in place across parts of our area. That's our southeastern counties. I'm going to click and watch this real quick here. Okay. Can you ask them to route that one up? Because I don't have. Yeah, if y'all can put the Max 2 behind me, I'll try to get to where I can click through it. But we'll show you. We've got video of the funnel cloud. This is it says near Bruceville Eddy is what it was showing. But again, this has been where it started around Bruceville Eddy, eventually towards Chilton and moving towards the east. So again, this is some video here. Give it just a second and you'll see. So here's the funnel cloud. This is where some of that damage occurred near Bruceville Eddy. So this was the start of the rotation. This is how decent the funnel cloud looked when it didn't even have great rotation. It was a small little spin up in the velocity data with that storm. And it, again, sorry, we're just getting this raw data to you, but you can see that distinct funnel cloud that it formed with that. And we've had pictures that have come in, y'all can switch back to Max 1 if you can, that have come in around the Chilton area looking at that as well. Sorry, I was trying to, we're getting some pictures sent in that are looking from the Reagan area as well. So A lot of data coming into us real quickly with this system as it's been quickly evolving. But again, this warning runs until 6:45. Again, it's for really areas near and south of the Marlin area in Falls County. So this is east of I-35. This storm has definitely shown very intense rotational signatures, a way wrapped up kind of storm. It's not a huge storm. This is pretty small when it comes to overall supercell size, but it's definitely showing the rotational signs. And you can see this is the best rotation this storm has had since it started. We have very strong winds coming inbound south with this storm and strong northerly winds. So for folks that don't travel Highway 6 a lot, Reagan, that's where the Aggie barn there is, a little geography with it. But this is the Reagan community here. Here's Highway 6. So Marlin's right up here. So this rotation has stayed south of Marlin. So if you live in Marlin, take a little breath. I think we're okay. Stay in your house. There's still heavy rain, hail potential. The rotational concern, the tornado concern, has now stayed south. Now it's still moving in an east-southeasterly track, so it's moving right along and going to stay right near and eventually cross over Highway 6. If you live in the community of Reagan, anywhere around it, we got a lot of county roads you can see on the map here. If you live between Marlin and Reagan or anywhere around Reagan, you need to be in your tornado safe area now. This is a storm that has had very much indications of significant rotation. Now you see that rotation has crossed Highway 6, so now it's moving. Maybe we can get it past Reagan, but again, it's now crossing Highway 6, but still moving on that east-southeasterly track. So not a time to be on Highway 6 anywhere in Falls County, honestly, for you. The northern part of Highway 6 is getting blinding rain and likely some hail, and that continues into parts of Highway 7. Cossie, you're not under this warning. This is a community we're going to have to watch closely. Anywhere from Reagan to Bremond to Cossie, here in eastern parts of Falls County. And again, we start talking Bremond, we're starting to talk Robertson County, and Cossie, we're starting to talk Limestone County. So right now it's only Falls County under this warning, but a lot of areas that we've got to watch to see how this rotation holds on. And this was really just started off as a quick little spin-up style supercell, but definitely getting a better rotation. Again, that rotation sitting just across Highway 6 within a couple miles of Reagan right now, and it's moving to the east and southeast, so it's going to start moving across, that's FM 413 that runs from Cossie down to the Reagan area. If you live anywhere around there, that rotation is going to be moving there. It's going to be skirting just south of Highway 7. This started all the way near I-35, near the Bruceville Eddy area. We've had a confirmed funnel there. We've got reports of a funnel seen in the Chilton area as well. We're keeping an eye out for any reports of activity as it's moving across more of the rural areas of Falls County. Again, the worst of this rotation staying just to the south and southeast of Marlin. It's going to skirt near or just north of the Reagan area, and then we're going to be watching as it continues to move towards Cossie. It may move just south of Highway 7 in the Cossie area as that storm continues to move. All right, so the Weather Service continues to say, yeah, they're watching for areas on Highway 6 between Marlin and Reagan. Still watching this rotation that still looks pretty impressive with it. Definitely a big hook on this storm. We'll go back and again show you kind of the path it's been on the last hour as this storm has definitely turned due east. Still kind of working on the easterly. It worked. Now, one thing that may be worth watching, the Weather Service on their end's noticing a slight drop in the rotation or the speed just a little bit in the last scan or so. And you can see that storm was trying to move southeast for a little bit and now turned a little more east. That may be the rotation coming down a little bit. We'll see if it tightens back up, but the storm's fluctuated some, but it is still a storm with a very evident hook with this storm that is sitting right across Highway 6 and rotation that is going near and east of the Highway 6 corridor that's going to be working its way again towards the Cossie-Bremond area is what we're going to be watching with this. We'll see how well this rotation holds on. Now, the core of the storm getting placed a little bit. You can tell the overall size of the storm's come down some. Maybe that could be a possible benefit for us, that this storm just kind of worked itself out. But again, right now, still a tornado warning in effect for Falls County. The latest update from the Weather Service came in about a minute ago. Still the same hazards, potential of a tornado, ping pong ball size hail. Again, radar indicated rotation added on top of the videos that we've seen and pictures that have been sent in from this storm. Again, that rotation sitting to the southeast of the Marlin area. Between there and Reagan and crossing Highway 6 as we speak, working its way going to be near and just south of the Highway 7 corridor there between Marlin and Cossie is kind of the area that we're going to be watching with this storm as it continues to slide kind of east-southeast is the direction that the storm is going. So tornado warning right now runs all the way to the Limestone Falls County line. None of Falls County under this warning right now. Same story down in the areas from Bremont into Robertson County. This is only a Falls County areas near and southeast of the Marlin area. And again, the rest of Central Texas, all quiet. Nothing else going on. And I got to apologize for folks that were hoping to see News 10 at 6. We've got great team coverage. We've got folks all across the Temple area. We're going to tell you about how nasty it was yesterday, but I think we learned yesterday we've got to pay attention to these storms and definitely keep a keen eye on them. Again, the tornado warning runs until 6:45. We also have a tornado watch that's in effect until 11 o'clock this evening. I don't expect the threat to last all the way till 11, and it's honestly one of these evenings where this may be the only one we have. But the atmosphere is set up where we have to keep a keen eye and a close eye on any storm that can form because it could spin up quickly. That's the worry that we have. So if you live in our southeastern counties, east of I-35, Milam, Robertson, Leon, Limestone, Freestone, and Falls County, and then off east of the Trinity River, more off towards the Palestine area. Some of those areas we will be keeping a close eye on this storm and any other storms that try to form inside this area. So Limestone County reporting one of their storm spotters, 2-inch hail on Highway 7 in Falls County just outside of Cossie. So there's some reports of some of that big hail, golf ball size or larger, upwards of ping pong ball size hail that's getting reported on Highway 7 there in that eastern parts of Falls County. I was showing you the tornado watch out west. We've got a pair of tornado warnings out west, but both of these are storms that are kind of on the dry line, so they're not expected to make progress towards Central Texas. We've got the one storm in our area, again, near the Marlin area, more scattered storms. These are up in northeast Texas, more around the Tyler area and east of Corsicana. So out of the Central Texas area, that storm off to our northeast doesn't have a tornado warning either. But again, we're watching this storm. It still has a hook to it, still has hail that's, again, upwards of 2 inches in diameter. I'll show you the latest hail estimate, and it's not quite as high as what our I love getting the ground truth because that helps us to kind of see what the radar's saying. We're talking $0.50 to golf ball is kind of what the radar is showing right now. But again, a decent hail core that's moving right along the Highway 7 area. That's going to push right towards the Cossie area. That's the direction that this is going to be. That hail core is going to be moving right along and just north of Highway 7. The rotation, which again, not looking quite as well. It may get a little ragged here for a little bit. That's working again near and southeast in the Marlin area. Folks in Reagan, you still need to be in your tornado safe areas, kind of that triangle there between Highway 7, Highway 6, and Highway 14 in the south and eastern parts of Falls County. And again, if you particularly live anywhere near FM 413, you're right in the path of this potential tornado that's moving right across Highway 6. It's going to skirt near and north of the Reagan area. Reagan, right now, that rotation looks like it may miss you. But if that rotation strengthens, the storm may take a little more of a southeasterly jog. So again, from Reagan to eventually Cossie, the rain's been picking up where you are. You are not under a tornado warning. We're going to see how this storm acts here over the next few scans to see how well this is, the rotation is going. And I'll give you another look at the rotation with this storm. It still has the bright colors. That's definitely showing some high winds in this storm and a decent connection there. It's not what we call gate to gate. Well, each one of these little blocks we call a gate. If they're right next to each other, then that's what we call high gate to gate rotation with the storm. So it's something we'll keep an eye on. But if we look, again, it's shown it was a little higher right when it crossed over Highway 6, a little next to each other, but this storm's still showing, you can definitely see the brighter reds and the greens. So we have a definitely rotating storm sitting just north of the Reagan area. Again, going to skirt near and just south of Highway 7. And again, this warning runs for another 13 minutes is how long it's officially on for. And again, we're got the video that we showed you earlier in the Bruce Folletti area. Again, we've got the some pictures that came in out of the Chilton area. We're in communication with the National Weather Service, and they're looking at the same thing we are. Again, to kind of take you on a wide view here, this is the only storm in Central Texas. And I know this frustrates some folks because 90% of our viewing area is saying it's not impacting me. And the reason that we are doing this is because we're an over-the-air television station. I know not everybody watches this over the air, but we have the responsibility to keep people safe in situations like this. And it's Channel 10 is going to do this every time we have storms. And I apologize for the people are going to get mad. I think somebody's already left me a voicemail, but you're welcome to. We're going to do this every time. This is the way we cover storms and believe that we should be covering it because we want to keep people safe. Yesterday was a perfect example. Storms didn't impact everybody, but we were on air wanting to make sure folks in the Temple, Belton, Killeen area were safe during those storms. And we're going to do the same thing for the small communities as we're going to do for the big communities. So there's my standing on the soapbox. But again, you're welcome to email me or call me. That's perfectly fine. But we do have a very distinct rotation with this storm moving its way kind of east-southeast across the kind of southeastern corner now of Falls County. Marlin, again, it continuing to look better for you. Reagan, that rotation sitting just to the north side of the Reagan area, the best area of rotation. I mean, it's going to skirt very, very close to the northern side of the town of Reagan. So you're probably picking up the winds. We need you to continue to be in your safe place anywhere. I know Reagan, a very rural community. Not everybody lives in town. You got all these country roads out here, county roads where everyone lives. We need you to be in your safe place, waiting out this storm where there's that potential tornado that's sitting just on the northeastern side of the city or the town of Reagan. So we did just get a report from the Falls County fire that Falls County Sheriff Deputy reported a confirmed, they're saying funnel touched down to the ground. Then it went back up, so we've at least got a storm that's trying its best. So we've had several reports of confirmed funnel clouds. We've got at least where it may have potentially, that's just outside of Reagan too. So that was a relatively new report coming in. So this storm is still trying to dip down its circulation down to the ground. So again, this warning definitely warrants the warning that's in place and our consideration and attention to it, because we've got a storm definitely trying its best. Sorry, I got warm, had to lose the jacket. They're trying to move their resources, try to get a better view of it. We've also got our Weather Explorer heading down there. We were kind of shifted more towards post-storm activity with the stuff in Temple. So this storm spun up and kind of surprised everybody. Yesterday we were waiting around ready for it. Today this one was kind of one of those out of the blue. But you can see over the last 30 minutes or so, this has definitely become a more consistent rotation. Yeah, we're seeing this area. So right now the core of this rotation is shifting east to Reagan, so that's good news. Now, folks in Cossie, it's going to be this highway or this FM 413. We're getting the tighter winds here, but it's right there. Remember I was telling you about that gate to gate. It's getting more that way where you got some brighter greens, brighter reds. We've got a pretty steady rotation there. Rosenthal Road is one of the roads there, but again, FM 413, that's going to ride right across there. If you live in the Cossie area, again, you are not under the tornado warning, but I would go ahead and make some plans, know what to do, where to be, because you've got a storm that's approaching you that has the potential of producing a tornado with this storm. So the National Weather Service, saying that tightening up southwest of Cossie, kind of repeating what we said. It's tracking south of Highway 7 for the most part, but with the storm has shown a history of kind of wrapping around and changing some. So particularly if you live Cossie southward, anywhere on Highway 7, and I would not doubt if the National Weather Service puts out a new tornado warning into Limestone County shortly. But again, here's Highway 7. Here's the county road we were talking about that goes 413. That goes, there's the new warning. So new warning. This is going to cover, I'm going to take the radar off of this just real quick so you can kind of see a better area. So this is going to run across southern Limestone County, Thornton, Cossie, Bremond, now in northern Robertson County. Does not include Franklin, but it includes some of these rural areas, again, from Highway 7 down to Highway 79 in Robertson County, all the way up to the Lake Limestone area. I know we got some folks that live around Lake Limestone, avid Channel 10 watchers. You folks in Lake Limestone, you're on the edge of this, but you've got some, campers, retired folks. And again, if you live in a manufactured, an RV, a mobile home, anywhere in Limestone, Robertson County, and you're in this warning, you've got time to make decisions to get somewhere that's safer than being in this area where this storm is moving. We don't want you inside of mobile homes or any manufactured home, anything that's doesn't have a very solid concrete base to it. We want you somewhere that's safer than that. So again, that new warning, get the very latest here, runs till 7:15. So again, for the folks watching us on KWGX, we're going to continue with this storm now. A bigger area that we're worried about under this particular warning. Again, the rotation has tightened up on this storm. The center of this, so we're kind of watching, again, this right in this area here. So we've got the red, that's winds going this way from the radar. We start getting these whites and these blues. That was what was showing up on the radar some last night. So that's when we're starting talking 70 to 80 mile per hour winds rotating in around this. So that's where we start talking about these EF1 or maybe stronger style tornadoes that could be trying to form inside of this area. So a distinct rotation that's ongoing with this. And again, we're in contact with, we've got a good group of, again, Reagan's got some volunteer fire department folks out there, some of the Falls County Emergency Management Sheriff's Office. We have a very great group that we work with in Limestone County Emergency Management there that will definitely have bodies out looking at this. So we should have some good views. Our Weather Explorer, I think, is heading down Highway 77 right now. He'll kind of cut around and try to get on the south side of this storm as it's continuing to move across Falls County. So we're keeping an eyeball on this activity. Again, still a very distinct hook with this storm. It has got kind of a thicker look to it. Now, what that could mean is it's starting to wrap a little more rain around in this, and that will make it very hard for our emergency management storm spotters that are out looking at this to see a whole lot. Really, the only area you're going to be able to probably see this well is from Highway 14 south of the Cossie area. But again, in Cossie, we do not want you outside looking at the storm. You're getting pounded with heavy rain, likely, and hail. And if you're living in Cossie and you notice it kind of, or anywhere south of Cossie, you go from the heavy rain and it steps down real quick and you go to nearly nothing and you're like, oh, hey, the storm's done. No, it's not done. You're going from the downdraft where it's dumping everything to the updraft of this storm. Then you're going to deal with the part that's wrapping around. So you're going to go from, again, a big hail core to some rain to nearly nothing to being right in the path of potential rotation with this storm. And that rotation is, again, well now east of Marlin. Folks in Marlin, you're no longer in the warning, so that's good news. Now you can relax. There's some spotty showers. There's probably still some lightning that we're dealing with, so be careful with that. The most of the lightning is moving east, and that lightning's come up some in the last few scans that we've been watching, so that shows a little bit of the intensification with this storm. Still a healthy hail core. It has grown some. It is right along Highway 7. Again, earlier, that's showing golf ball size. We had storm spotters that were, I'm trying to see where they were. I just did to the west of Cossie. That was about 10 minutes ago, picked up 2-inch hail. So we're getting around that golf ball size. So that hail core likely sliding into the Cossie area. Again, our hail tracker is usually a delayed product. It takes about a scan of data to process it, but it's sitting pretty close to where it is. So hail core is going to work towards the Cossie area. Rotation sitting just south. So here's FM 413 that goes into the Cossie area, and we got a new report. This is coming from the Falls County Fire Department. They're saying, or fire group that's there, tornado on the ground reported by Reagan Fire Department on the ground, FM 413 and 2413. I'm probably not going to be able to see 2413 real well, but 413 is the road that heads out of Reagan. Yeah, so this right in this area here is where we're watching. So again, the rotation was seen here, tornado on the ground reported by Reagan Volunteer Fire Department. It is moving right just south of Highway 7, pretty much right along FM 413. So if you live in Cossie, we need you to be in your tornado safe area. We got a dangerous storm that now has from trained storm spotters, and again, volunteer fire department, we appreciate all those first responders for their help with this. Again, reported of a tornado on the ground. We'll go back to the velocity with this product. Again, it's sitting just to the northeast. So the report was on FM 413. That's the road. This is exactly where this couplet's sitting right here. So north and east of Reagan, it's going to be moving. Here's 2413 right here. So this is very close to where they were seeing this rotation. So again, sometimes the radar will take a second or two to catch up to where the storm's actually moving, but in this area here, so we're talking, let's put a track in here. I want to make sure we're keeping a kind of geography, knowing how far we are. So, I mean, we're talking within 5 to 7 miles of Cossie, probably later in that this is moving. We've got word from the Limestone County Emergency Manager. They've got their spotters out ready to go, keeping an eye on everything. But again, volunteer fire department, Reagan, confirming a tornado on the ground. That was just to the northeast of Reagan, right along FM 413. And again, this is moving. Let's show you where this rotation's moving. I'll put this in a loop, and you'll see that rotation's moving nearly due east. So it's going to move near or just south of the Kasi area. If you live in Kasi, that tornado may miss you, but you're going to have a decent hail core. And I would rather you plan for a tornado and miss you, because you can see, I mean, we're just talking a couple miles. But if you live from Kasi south towards Bremond, anywhere in southern, southeasternmost Falls County along Highway 14, we're not talking about the Highway 14 north of Kasi right now. We're talking a little bit there in Limestone County, and particularly south of there. We need you prepared. We've got a storm that's producing a tornado as of last report right along FM 413 southeast of Marlin, and is moving east. Is going to come near or just south of the town of Kasi is where this storm is moving right now. And again, the latest report we had just a few minutes ago, it's 3 minutes ago, was a report of a tornado on the ground reported by the Reagan Volunteer Fire Department that's watching this storm. And again, you can see it's a very prototypical supercell storm with a pronounced hook echo there. And you see the white. Okay, that is a changed, because there's more of a report coming in of the white starts to show up, that there's been indicated that they're able to verify that someone has actually seen it. So you don't see it on my, but it does say radar indicated, but in the data being sent by the Weather Service, they're saying law enforcement confirmed. So the white kind of pulsing there helps us know, all right, we've got ground truth that people are seeing what's going on with this. So again, we've had a tornado reported on the ground right now, about 7 miles north of Bremond, roughly is where it's at. About 12 miles east, southeast of Marlin, moving east 20, maybe 25 miles per hour. This has not been a fast moving storm, but again, this area that you're seeing here with this hook is what we call a hook echo. So this area where there's nothing going on here, that's the updraft of the thunderstorm. We have the strong downdraft area, that's where the hail core falls. And then you get this area that's wrapping around, because this entire thunderstorm is rotating on a broad kind of counterclockwise basis. That's what makes it a supercell thunderstorm. But as that rotation tightens, and in this area where this hook is, that's where we can see that potential tornado form. Okay, so we have one of our trained storm spotters that we trust that's out all the time in the Limestone County did report a brief tornado between the Kasi and Bremond area, and they were actually seeing what we call multi-vortex, where you can actually see multiple spin-ups all involved with one. So a lot of times that's multiple small ones, but sometimes that can merge together to produce a bigger tornado. So there is confirmed rotation. Again, that was between the Kasi and Bremond area. So we're talking along Highway 14. That's where that rotation is moving. That's where our spotters are sitting. Again, for a storm spotter, this is where they're going to sit to watch because they get that kind of clear view into that slot where that potential rotation is. But again, crossing Highway 413, likely moving its way right across from FM 413 across Highway 14. So we're getting some double check to see if the rotation was on Highway 14 or if that's where the storm spotter was. So we're getting some just to double check, make sure everything's matching up. But again, right now the rotation still being shown on FM 413, but again, right now it's crossing there, heading towards Highway 14 between Bremond and Kasi is where this is moving. So if you live anywhere in the far eastern corner of Falls County, in this area along Highway 14, we have a confirmed tornado. It's been confirmed multiple times of a tornado that's been forming. May not stay on the ground all the time, but it's at least trying to pulse. Sometimes these multiple vortex parts of it can mean a sign that it's actually trying to strengthen even more potentially. So something that we're seeing signs from our storm spotters and emergency management folks that are out there. And again, near Reagan, just to the northeast of there, we had an observed tornado from fire department there. So a wider view of this storm. Folks up in the Thornton area, north of Kasi, you're under this tornado warning, but it's more the hail core that we're worried about. We will be watching mainly south of Thornton, and honestly, mainly south of Kasi. Kind of Highway 7 has been the cutoff. The storm has been riding right near and just south of there. Folks in Kasi, you still need to be in your tornado safe area. You need to ride this storm out. You got a pretty significant hail core that's working its way through your area right now, and I'll go back and show you that estimated hail size with it. And it's still up in that nearly up to golf ball size that's working its way through Kasi as we speak. But again, that rotation right now is just sitting a few miles south of Kasi, and this storm has sometimes wobbled around a little bit. Now, I would rather you be safe knowing that even if it misses you by a couple miles, you're in a safe place. You also got the potential of debris flying. We've got wind pushing hail. Sometimes that can bust out windows. We saw that in some of the Temple storms yesterday. But again, the rotation from the storm right now is crossing over FM 413 and heading towards the Highway 14 corridor there near and south of the Kasi area is what we're watching right now. And again, there's the Alto Springs community that's there just to the southeast of Kasi. And there are a lot of small county roads that we'd be watching in that area. There's the White Rock community that's in Headsville. These are some of these small little communities that are going to show up on the map. These are all big areas that we're watching as it moves past Kasi and continues to move towards the east and southeast. And again, we have an observed tornado, a warning that is that this storm has produced this tornado. We're going to get some pictures that are going to be sent to us from this that the fire department to help confirm. We'll get those from the National Weather Service. Hopefully we can pass those along to you. Yeah, so we'll have to reach out, Josh, and see if we can use permission for these. But the Falls County Fire Department showing, or Falls County Sheriff and Fire showing us a tornado that was on the ground for sure in and around the Reagan area. So we're getting photograph and video proof to go along with the radar data that we're watching with this storm. And again, significant rotation still going on as storms passing FM 413. The storm spotter that said they saw the multiple vortex style sitting on Highway 14 looking towards that storm. Oh, I think I talked too much yesterday. My voice is going to go today. All right, so let's go back out the wide view, kind of reset everything for folks that are tuning in. And again, I apologize for programming we're interrupting. We are trying not to, but again, we want to make sure we're keeping everyone safe on this. We have a pair of tornado watches. We have one out west for storms along the dry line. That runs till 11. Officially, San Saba County is in that. San Saba, you're kind of on the far eastern side of this watch. It's what's happening is storms are firing up along the dry line, but they're unlikely to push away from the dry line and move very close to central Texas. This newer watch actually was issued after this storm started to form, as you could start to tell that the environment was conducive for these storms to start to spin. And this includes Falls, Limestone, Freestone, Leon, Robertson, and Milam counties. That also runs until 11 o'clock as well. I do not anticipate this threat to last all the way until 11 o'clock tonight, but it may be this only storm. We will have to definitely keep an eye on any other potential storms that can form here in the next few hours. But right now, it's this one storm that we're watching very closely, and it is definitely showing pretty significant signs of rotation. It may be cycling a little bit right now, but definitely still having that well-defined hook with this storm that's sitting near and just south of Kasi right now, crossing Highway 14. So again, the core of this rotation just south of Kasi. Kasi, you're probably getting slammed with maybe up to golf ball size hail that's moving into town right now. Thornton, you're under this tornado warning, but again, the rotation is going to stay well south of you. The National Weather Service kind of broad brushing out because this is a storm that has shown significant signs of changing direction that it's been moving. But the rotation inside this storm that is now heading towards Highway 14, still significant in there. The overall, and again, it's shifted a little bit, and it's a little broader right now. The hook may have, I think it's regenerating a little bit right now. And we see this with supercells where it strengthens, it kind of goes through cycles where it'll strengthen and weaken, and I think that's a lot what we're seeing with this, but still some very impressive rotation with this storm. I'm going to go back just a little bit and watch. Yeah, you kind of, but I think we're still sitting with a very likelihood. Again, we've already seen one or a couple of different confirmed reports of a tornado, and guys, if y'all want to put that picture up, I don't know if that's in Max 2 behind me, we can. To kind of show this is some stuff coming out of the Reagan area. So this is, you can see the tornado off in the distance there. Thank you, Justin Ellis, for sending us. That's pretty significant looking rotation there. Again, looking from the Reagan area, this would be off likely to the east and northeast of Reagan. And then, yeah, so you can see, and then we move past, and it definitely looks like it's on the ground there. And you can see some, looks to be debris getting picked up and flung around with this. So again, That's some of the confirmed, and this isn't the stuff that came from the fire department. This is some newer video that we're getting out of the Reagan area. So again, a possible tornado, or there's still some trees there in the distance, but it looks like a pretty healthy rotation that was going on with that storm. And again, thanks to Justin Ellis. We don't want folks out driving into it if they don't have to. We know there's storm spotters out there helping us for sure. Okay, so so this all started in the Bruceville Eddy area with a rotation that actually kind of spun up and then got sucked back into the storm. But we did get some damage in the Bruceville area when the storm started up. And we're going to check in with Madison Herbert. She's there where some of that damage occurred. Madison?
Hey Brady, yeah, I am off of Bruceville Lane where obviously that tornado, the strong winds, that heavy rain moved through this area. And I'm going to step out of the way so you can see what we are seeing. But this is the aftermath of a mobile home getting picked up and thrown into their next door neighbor's home. So what you're seeing over here is like the silverish gray color. That is the mobile home. And then you can see the house has some damage to the roof in the corner of their home. So I was talking to the Bruceville Eddy fire chief, and he was telling me that there were 2 people inside the mobile home at the time of the storm. They were taken to the hospital and they are expected to be okay, but such a scary scene to be a part of and to be stuck in the middle of. And so right now what we're seeing is just there's a lot of emergency officials out here. We've got Bruceville Eddy Fire, we've got Lorena Fire, we've got the McLennan County Sheriff's Office. So there's a lot of hands on deck out here as we're trying to sort out just what to do next and how to clear the area. I also want to point out that there are people in the yard. I have not been able to speak with anybody that lives in either of the homes. Obviously, like I said, the people in the mobile home are in the hospital. So it looks like everybody that is on the scene here that lives in the home that was damaged. I've seen a couple of people moving in and out of the home, bringing out luggage. So it looks like they are looking to relocate for the time being while they figure out how to move things around and get their home fixed. And so I'm going to be out here for a little bit longer. I am trying to learn more information. They are still working to get more information as they are sorting it through the scene, and I'm hoping to speak with some of the family members here as well. So I will have more in our later newscast tonight. I'm reporting live in Bruceville Eddy, Madison Herbert, KWTX News 10.
All right, thank you, Madison. Scary, scary stuff there. And honestly, that rotation didn't even look that impressive. Definitely not as impressive as it looks right now. And that kind of, hopes and prayers of these people that are at the hospital will recover and be fine. But, we preach a lot that we want you in a sturdy, well-built home. And again, those, unfortunately, we try to give as much warning as we can, but every once in a while, you'll get a spin up that we don't expect. Right now, we do know that there's a storm with the capability and a track record of producing a tornado. So if you live anywhere around Highway 7 in southern Limestone County, northern Robertson County, I know there's a lot of, again, retired folks in and around Lake Limestone. Anywhere in this track, if you live in a house that you don't think is structurally sound to protect you, you have a little bit of time, particularly the farther away you get into Limestone and parts of Robertson County. Hopefully the system will shift some, but I'm reading it real quick. But this is still a very, very, very dangerous storm that we need to keep an eye on. And we've got several reports of, again, tornadic activity that's getting passed along. That was all the way in the Bruceville Eddy area. Now we're talking about areas near and south of Kasi, and this is the strongest rotation this storm has had. It is crossing Highway 14, now likely east of there, just about to probably cross the county line. So we're talking from Falls County to Limestone County. Here's that tornadic rotation with this storm, significant rotation that's sitting just south of Kasi. Good news when we talk about tornadic potential. Folks in Kasi, this is going to be a rough estimate, still sitting about 4 miles south of you, but it is moving more due east. So the tornadic threat is going down in Kasi. I still want you to be in your safe area. There's still a lot of threats that we're worrying about when we start talking about significant hail with this storm, because the hail core is moving right through the Kasi area right now, and we're talking about the potential of upwards of at least $half to golf ball size hail that could be ongoing with this thunderstorm. So the tornado threat's going down in Kasi. But if you know anybody that lives near and south of Kasi, within a couple miles, again, and it's right in this area. Now, the hard thing, I was telling you, storm spotters like to be in this area where they can see when these storms close up like this, that's the moisture wrapping into this. So yesterday was a perfect example. We typically in Central Texas, it's so warm, it's so muggy, we have high precipitation style thunderstorms, meaning the rain gets wrapped in around the tornado. So it makes it very, very hard to see. And again, we've got very, very good storm spotting network in Limestone County. So if we're going to see anything, they're definitely going to be there. And just got a report from CASI from their emergency management there saying a golf ball sized hail in CASI ongoing right now. So again, CASI, the tornado threat is going down, but some damaging hail moving through town right now. And we're talking about this rotation sitting just a few miles, 3 to 5 miles south of CASI, and is crossing Highway 14 right now. And now we're going to start shifting our attention to some of these smaller communities in the southern parts of Limestone County. So when we're talking Limestone County, we're not talking Mejia, we're not talking Groesbeck, we're talking southern portions south of CASI, way south of the Thornton area, but down in the southern part of the community, and the county, and this is going to kind of jump county to county. It's going to go Falls County into Limestone County. It may eventually go into Robertson County, but Highway 7 is not a road you want to be driving on. We were talking about that with Highway 6. Highway 7 likely a mess right now with large hail, and again that rotation that is sitting just to the south. The storm's still showing, again, significant rotation, but if I show you the radar, you see it's all filled in here. That means rain wrapping around the rotation. We still get a little bit of the updraft or the weakness kind of in here. That's where that rotation's ongoing, but our spotters are probably going to have very little, if any, chance to see what's going on inside of there, and that's where the radar technology helps us out a lot with this. And again, we're looking at this rotation that is sitting probably right east of Highway 14. So the National Weather Service, National Weather Service just sent out another reminder saying, again, they're seeing the same thing we are. We're talking about County Road, Limestone County Road 700. It's moving right in that direction there. It's going to move south of Highway 7, the White Rock community there in the northern parts of Robertson County. From there up to County Road 700, Limestone County Road 704. That's another one. But this is the tightest rotation we've probably seen with this, and we've already had several videos and pictures sent in of significant rotation and likely tornado on the ground. And again, the problem we're running into right now is there's a good likelihood it's wrapped up in rain. So this is a picture that was in the Reagan area from the fire department there, and you can see that's that same area where we were showing the video earlier. So another vantage point, and very likely, I mean, it does look like even debris, at least some being thrown up there, but that definitely looks like a tornado on the ground. So that's what we've been watching with that. And again, we've got Madison Herber we talked to a little while earlier of unfortunate injuries occurred as a mobile home got picked up. Again, if you live in the rural areas of southern Limestone County, go out a little bit wider here. Again, we're talking areas, Bremond, you're under that warning. The rotation's north of you. CASI, you're just getting pounded with hail. The rotation's south of you as well, fortunately, but it's one of those, this is not a fun storm any part you deal with, but it's going to move along Highway 7, and then we're going to be talking about some more of our southeastern county towns that we're watching with this. But again, some of the areas, kind of the communities, again, White Rock, Twin Oaks, Reservoir, Willow Creek are some of the, if you know any of these communities, and then as it starts to move again, we're kind of in that triangle area there between Falls, Limestone, and Robertson County. So Robertson County, we're not talking Franklin, we're talking north of you, and then this is going to be moving east, and we may have to start talking more into parts of Leon County. We got Marquez and Jewett we'll have to watch. We're trying to give you as much warning on this, but a storm that has definitely been showing consistent and actually increasing rotation with this storm as it's moving off towards the east. Let's take you to the rotation with this storm again, and yeah, it's just screaming at us that there's a tornado on the ground. Last night we had a hard time seeing the tornado because the high winds were all across Bell County. We're not having the widespread high winds with this storm, but we have significant rotation ongoing. There's likely a tornado crossing the county line from Falls County into Limestone County, just a few miles south of the CASI area. And this is going to make it a little difficult for our storm spotters to see because we're moving over pretty rural areas of southern Limestone County. But here's Highway 7, here's Highway 14, and there's a brand new scan, and all it did is tighten up even more. We are watching a very significant rotation with this storm that's moving again right across the county line. So again, we're talking County Road 700 in Limestone County, County Road 704. You just kind of count it, step up from 700 is kind of the areas we're watching. Again, it's moving its way out of Falls County into Limestone County. Again, staying south of Cossie. Cossie, your tornado threat has gone down. You're still dealing with the heavy rain and hail threat that we're watching with this storm. And this is likely going to continue to skirt near. It's probably going to eventually cross the Highway 7 area as it continues east, unless it turns more southeast. But again, we're watching this area now transitioning out of Falls County into Limestone County. We'll be watching the northern parts of Robertson County as well. The National Weather Service is going to add a what they call considerable tag. You can see that it went from just the threat was there, now more of a, hey, this is screaming at us that there's likely a very strong potential tornado ongoing. And again, it's this. This is the strongest velocity register or signature that we're seeing. We're talking about winds getting picked up by the radar at least probably 80 miles per hour in either direction. Again, we were talking about, we want that to see to kind of confirm a tornado is that gate to gate kind of a connection there. So we have tight rotation ongoing with this storm sitting right on the county line, moving from Falls to Limestone County as we speak. And we're still getting the hail reports out of Cossie, upwards of 2 inches. So we're talking around the golf ball size hail with this storm. So kind of a step back and again, kind of show you we're watching. And for our folks on the I-35 corridor or more populated towns, again, I apologize. I don't know what show I'm interrupting, but I really apologize for it. There's days when we have widespread storms where everybody's impacted, and we have days like today where most of us are perfectly fine. But there are some folks that are in dire straits of dealing with potentially catastrophic style storm. And that's why we're here to help those, not a lot of them, but folks that are in that path that hopefully are heeding warnings. If you happen to know anybody in southern Limestone County or northern Robertson County, give them a call. Say, hey, we're watching. You need to be prepared because a likely significant storm is rolling its way across the southern parts of Limestone County. Again, for the folks in Cossie, just heed the threat that hail threat is there. The rotation from this storm is right now crossing the county line. Again, the White Rock community, the Twin Oaks Reservoir area, it's going to move right near there. Again, there's the Headsville community, White Oak, Willow Creek. And then again, here's Highway 7, here's Highway 14. So it's going to be moving between those, crossing over the county line. It's likely now in southern Limestone County. Again, what you're seeing with the radar is it does a sweep, and every about 3 to 5 minutes we get an update, kind of a snapshot of what everything looks like. So it's moving in between these radar images, so we will be closely watching issues with this. Falls County Fire reporting some major structural property damage reports where they near the Chilton area. They're working on getting us some information and stuff like that. Again, and then the National Weather Service also saying dangerous circulation. This is screaming at us that we have a storm that has a history of producing damage, already injuries reported as well. Several reports from trained storm spotters, emergency management, fire department of a tornado on the ground. And now we're getting even more concerns from not only me, but the National Weather Service watching this on the radar as well, that this significant rotation is working across the county line into the southern parts of Limestone County. So the White Rock community, north the Highway 7, again, the Headsville community there. You can see White Rock Road right in here. So anywhere in here, you have to be prepared and going to take your tornado precautions. Again, unlike out in the big cities where you have the tornado sirens to warn you and stuff like that, in the rural areas, you got to be prepared on your own. And we want you out there definitely getting somewhere safe. If you have a tornado cellar, get in there. If you not, find the most interior part on the lower floor of your home. Yesterday in Temple, perfect example, we had several two-story homes. A lot of the second story was completely destroyed, but the lower floor was completely fine. So again, we want you down as close to the ground as you can, cuts out the potential of debris and puts a little more protection around you. So this storm is becoming more and more rain-wrapped, and it's going to become nastier to see with this. So this is likely right in here where this rotation is ongoing, kind of where you see that kind of weakness in the reflectivity there. That's where we're still getting some of the updraft, but the storm is definitely becoming a little more wrapped up in rain and definitely going to be a little harder to see. But the velocity is screaming at us that there is likely a tornado, a very strong circulation that's working east of the Falls Limestone County line. And again, just the more we get these bright whites, that's where we're pretty much the radar saying, hey, it is violently rotating right now, and something that we have to be paying very, very close to. The only bit of good news when we start talking communities is this is staying south of the Kasi area. But again, this is moving through rural areas where we still have homes that we need to be worried about and folks that we want to be taking cover and to be safe. And the wide view of this warning runs until 7:15. If it continues on the path it's going, we're going to see this continue to be extended further. Again, we've had several confirmations of a tornado on the ground, very strong rotation inside the storm depicted by radar, upwards of 2-inch hail reported with this storm in and around the Kasi area, and that very dangerous hail core is going to be sliding along Highway 7. If you live along Highway 7, so far this storm has been skirting just south. But if it moves on an easterly track more, it's eventually going to be moving across parts of Highway 7. And then we're going to have to be watching, again, from the Lake Limestone area, eventually towards like the Marquay area, potentially the Jewett area, as this storm starts to continue to work its way eastward. Again, a very dangerous rotation with this storm that's moving its way to the east and southeast. And there's folks probably wondering, it's not just me here working. You just see me on TV. We've got Jillian Johnson updating our app, website, Facebook, stuff like that. A great crew making sure we're getting all the data in. We have our Weather Explorer out trying to get in a good spot to see. We haven't seen anything from his shot, but we'll see if we can get in position. Eastern viewing area gets a little harder to see storms because we get more trees, we get more hills, and we're going to start getting out in areas. Okay, and that's like I said, you're going to see it cut out there a little bit. That's the view. C.D. Finley, our new meteorologist, he's just started this week. China Spring boy went to OU and started this week, and got him a busy week to start at work. But he's in the Marlin area. He's going to try to get down south of this storm. So we'll show you what he sees. But it's a very soupy mess out there right now. But we'll try to get him in a good location to try to see what's going on. But again, we're moving through some pretty rural areas with this storm right now. But again, still very, very, very stout rotation with this storm. Again, likely a rain-wrapped potential tornado that's ongoing there. This rotation, we should be getting an update here in a second, is probably working its way from Falls County into Limestone County, may cross into the Robertson County area. It's going to be skirting right near or just south of Highway 7 is the area there. And again, this storm started about 5:20, just near I-35. Again, we've had Madison Herber there where she just gave us a report a little while ago talking about the damage. She's talked to some of the people there that live in that home, and we'll have us some more information later. But again, this is a significant storm crossing the county line. Let's give you another look at the hail core with this storm. It's still sitting right near and around Highway 7. It's not quite as bad as it looked earlier when it moved right across the Kasi area. You can see that hail core flared up. And that's the way hail cores typically do with these storms. They will build up the hail, dump the hail out, and then it kind of recycles and builds up more hail. But again, still a pretty decent circulation showing up with this storm. And again, some of the tightest, brightest both of circulation that we're seeing with this activity that's skirting across now the southern parts of Limestone County. So zoomed in a little bit. Here's Highway 14. So this is Falls County, this is Limestone County, this is Robertson County. So we're down in the far southern portions of Limestone County. Yes, there's a warning for Limestone County, but it does not include really the bigger cities in Marlin. Groesbeck, Mexia, this is way south of you. And just an early look, we're, folks in the Lake Limestone area, Marquay, Jewett, Buffalo, some of those areas we're going to have to be watching for the potential of this storm. And again, it's a mixture of hail and an observed tornado with very, very strong rotation inside of it. And let's look and see if we got a new update. All right, so sometimes when we get this here, that can sometimes again be the radar trying to pick up a little debris that's getting picked up. But again, this is likely a rotation that we're going to have a hard time seeing. One, because talking county roads, storm spotters and storm chasing, you don't do dirt roads because you're just getting ready for a disaster with that way. So we've got storm spotters trying to reposition, get into areas where they can see what's going on and get a view of this storm. But again, the storm is moving through I mean, fortunately, when we're talking number of people through a rural area, but we still have people that we want to be aware of and try to keep safe with this, because this storm has got significant rotation. We're getting the changes from the white to the blue here. That's where you even get, like I said, like last night, we started seeing those blues, and that's where that 80 to 100 mile per hour wind. The tornado yesterday, and at least the first one that got observed in the Temple area, 120 mile per hour winds with it. And again, yeah, so the Weather Service kind of preaching what I'm seeing. So the research that they've looked at to kind of base off of where this rotation is, how far away it is from the radar, what they're seeing, indicates there is the potential of winds between 110 and maybe 145 miles per hour in the area where this tornado is. And again, we're talking southernmost Limestone County, northernmost Robertson County, south of the Cossie area. So the White Rock area, Headsville, that's another small community there in northern Robertson County, Twin Oaks Reservoir north of there. This is going to skirt right along the county line. And we're talking about I mean, you take 110 to 145 miles per hour. That's an EF2, EF3 style tornado. That can do very significant life-threatening damage. So we're not preaching about this just because we want to stand on. I don't want to stand on TV all night. I would rather be taking my dinner break like everyone else. But we've got a very dangerous storm here that we have to be on TV to warn you about. That is definitely on the intense side. And everything is pointing that a very significant tornado is likely ongoing. So we need people in the path of this storm. If you are in this warned area, again, particularly near and south of Highway 7, folks in Thornton, you're probably saying, what are y'all talking about? Well, yes, you're under the warning. You know you're not under the threat right now. Fortunately, this storm for you has turned more easterly. But if you live from Costie along Highway 7 south, and then we may have to watch north of Highway 7 in parts of Robertson County, this is starting to become a very significant, very dangerous tornado that is very scary, that we need to watch and keep an eye on. And it is moving at an east and may turn a little more southeast, but in an easterly clip, and again showing very, very strong, very scary rotation that's going on inside of it. And again, right now showing the potential of significant tornado. And we're getting to an area where it's going to be hard for us to kind of see any ground truth verification right now, just because of the area it's rolling through. But again, County Road 700 is a road that's Limestone County 700, County Road 704. These are some of these roads that we told you about before. Again, the Headsville community there just south of Highway 7. Again, Twin Oaks Reservoir, particularly north of there, the White Rock area north of there. That's areas that we're worried about with this storm. And I'm going to give you the very latest kind of verbiage from the National Weather Service. Just came out an update to the warning. So northeastern Robertson County, west central Leon County, southeastern Limestone County. The warning now runs until 8 o'clock. So this warning is going to continue. We have radar indication, and again, earlier confirmation that this storm has had a history of producing a tornado. So this is a life-threatening style impact from this storm. I don't want to scare people, but it's true. If you're not taking the correct precautions, this is style of tornadic activity. If you're caught outside, not prepared, and not inside in a safe, secure structure, this can be a life-threatening style storm. So that is why this warning is in place. That's why we're interrupting the television, hopefully getting information out. And again, we're not just on TV, we're on our app, we're on Facebook, we're on everywhere we need to be to try to get this information out, and our full crew working to get more information and more views. We have our Weather Explorer working to get to that area. And again, I want to show you real quick. We're going to check back into Madison. I know she talked some more to the people that were there. Let's give you another look at the radar. The winds, again, just extreme screaming at you winds right here. And again, it's that area right there where the reds and the greens, where the bright reds and that nearly turning white green. You see that blue, that kind of shows it nearly kind of bleeding over a little bit. That shows the significant rotation. So again, this all started about 5:15, 5:20, right along I-35 near Bruceville Eddy. The rotation got pulled into the storm and started to turn due east, but we saw some damage right off the bat. And Madison Herber's in the Bruceville Eddy area. Madison, what else have you learned in that area?
Yeah, hey Brady, I just got a chance to speak with the family that lives in these homes behind me. So when I talked to y'all earlier, I had told you that this mobile home had been picked up and thrown into their neighbor's house. But now, after talking to the family, I have learned that this is not just their neighbor, but this is their brother, stepdaughter and brother-in-law. So her stepdaughter and her husband. So when I was talking with the family, they were telling me that they were actually listening to you, Brady, to kind of know what to expect and what was coming next. But they were not in the area. They were just listening over their phone. So when they were in Temple, they were trying to get some of their other family members here for safety because of no electricity over in Temple. So they were trying to get their family here. Little did they know that when they got home, they weren't going to have electricity or much of the side of their house either. So it's really just a devastating scene out here. There's a lot of emotions. When I was speaking with the family, it was really hard to fight back tears, but there was one very powerful statement that the mother of the home had said, and that's, you can't replace people. I know it looks awful out here, but these are just things that can be replaced, but you can't replace people. And fortunately, everybody that was involved in this storm is going to be okay, and that's truly what they are most thankful for right now. They were moving things out of their house. They do have some power lines down in the area, so they're trying to just get out and avoid the area until they can figure out how to rebuild. And what's even more devastating is that it is their 15-year-old daughter's, or it is their daughter's 15th birthday today. So really not the best way to spend your birthday. And so they really are just trying to move forward, and they're thanking God for keeping their family intact, and they're just looking to see what they can do to replace their things and move forward. I'm reporting live in Bruceville, Eddy, Madison Herber, News 10.
All right, thank you, Madison. Yeah, scary situation. We've got and I'm hoping to hear, this is where I help when I communicate with the National Weather Service. So this is 8 minutes ago. Check out what's happening with this storm just in the last few scans. We've got 2 circulations ongoing with this storm, a new circulation forming between the Twin Oaks Reservoir and Headsville. So we may have the potential of it. Now, what may happen is this rotation dies out and it feeds into this one. There's the potential of two areas of pretty stout rotation, potentially 2 tornadoes on the ground. We rarely ever see that happen, but we do have stout rotation ongoing. Yeah, so that's what they're seeing as well. So the National Weather Service is saying this rotation is on the way of dissipating. This new area of rotation is intensifying. So we see this sometimes when storms cycle, kind of the way the winds wrap around. If you see a tornado, it pulls winds around it, and sometimes that will kind of kick the circulation, kind of cool off the air around the tornado when it got wrapped up with the rain and kind of spin off a new forming of a rotation. So sometimes on that you can have 2 tornadoes on the ground. Typically one's in the form of dissipating. So this is it kind of jumped nearly. So maybe good news for the White Rock area, but again, Headsville, Twin Oaks Reservoir, in that area, we've got a new tornado kind of trying to form or may already be on the ground. But yeah, not many times you see the dual kind of rotations on there, but again, the one rotation and I'll show you kind of it going. It went from one area, and what you can see is it's right here is where it was trying to form. So this area, again, probably got wrapped up in rain, caused that rotation to slide east. But right now we have 2 areas of circulation that we're watching. So now we'll keep a close eye on this one on 704 there. But again, it's this rotation right here that we're really getting the most concentrated on, but that will speed the time up because it jumped a good ways. Yeah, so we got a report from, again, the same storm spotter that told us earlier, and again, this gentleman's out chasing a lot and keeping an eye on stuff. So between Willow Creek and the Cossie and Marquette area, yeah, rain wrap, multiple vortex. It's not staying in contact with the ground, but they say that it's a kind of dancing around, and you'll get that. Now, just because it's not down to the ground all the time, these multiple vortex sometimes look like fingers dancing around. It's scary to look at, but that whole area is spinning around with these multiple vortex rotations inside of it. So it can produce damage even bigger than these small tornadoes that are inside of there. So yeah, so that's kind of matching. So right when that was right about the time that we saw this big wrap up right here in it. So yeah, we're getting again appreciation. Again, folks in Limestone County this evening crossing over into the county line. Great communication between emergency management, ourselves, and the National Weather Service. But again, we had a multiple vortex likely tornado ongoing. Now again, that was getting wrapped up with rain, but now we're likely seeing a new area of significant rotation sitting right north of the Twin Oaks Reservoir and the Headsville area there. So still very significant rotation. Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty much, they say it's cycling is what they're saying. You're getting, it's spinning up, it's trying to pull rain in, and then it's trying to recycle again. So what the storm is it's fighting the rain to see if it can form. So overall, we're taking the rotation that was here, now we're trying to shift it here. So it's this big area here where there's multiple rotations inside, a lot for viewers or for our storm spotters to see, but fortunately they say it may be weakening a little bit in their last. We're getting pretty fast updates from them, so that's definitely good news there. So let's take a look at the hail again that's moving right across the Highway 7. This storm has been pretty much right on Highway 7, and luckily for houses and communities along Highway 7, has been sitting just south of Highway 7, but still very large hail ongoing with that. We still have the chance for 2-inch diameter hail. Again, we have several spotters that have confirmed along the path of this, particularly from, well, we had some in the Chilton area, Reagan area, and then now near and southeast of the Cossie area of confirmed tornadic activity. And here the last few, it's been, again, what we call multiple vortex, where overall the storm is spinning and there's smaller little rotations that are mixed in with the tornadic spin that's going on. I think the storm right now is probably going through a kind of a recycling where that first rotation is diminishing some in the second area. Now we have to watch and see how well the second area spins out. Sometimes these storms can kind of blow cold air and cut off the flow into them, but really it's just going to be kind of a wait and see on this. But right now we still have those. All right, so you can see they're completely changed on us. So, so there was wind likely the worst of the activity. That's 14 minutes ago. And then you saw started to form that second area there to the east. Then it got both areas, area to the west weaken, and now the new area of circulation is taking over. So this area is dying out. Now the storm is trying to recirculate, pulling in warmer, more unstable air, and that rotation hopefully won't strengthen that back up, but it does look like the tornado recycling and the strength of it starting to recycle. One thing to start to point out with this storm, we're watching from a radar all the way in the Granger area. So as we get closer to I-45, the further you get away from a radar shoots straight beams out, Earth curves. So we will start hitting this storm a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and you'll start seeing it may not be give us as well a ground truth, and we'll hopefully we'll have our Weather Explorer. We can get a little bit of a view of it, but you can start seeing those purples on there. That's signs that we're getting some bad data that's trying to come back just because of how high the beam is shooting. This is kind of the reason we added our Hamilton radar in the Hamilton area. We're actually working on possibly adding another one down near the College Station area to help fill these gaps. Unfortunately, there's holes in the NEXRAD radar system that there's spots where we just can't see real well, and it makes it hard with tornadoes because you really want to see as low as you can inside the storm, because that gives you a better idea of what's happening down at the ground, not midway up inside the thunderstorm. So again, to recap, a tornado warning is still in effect for the southern portions of Limestone County. Right now, the main threat is in the Robertson County area. There is a portion of Limestone or the Leon County area, mainly just west of Marquay. But if you live in the Marquay area, now is probably a good time. Make sure everybody's in a safe place, know where to go if the warning gets issued for you, because you've got a pretty stout rotation that's moving pretty much right along Highway 7. Plus, Highway 7 curves a little bit here, so it's been sitting just south of it. But if it continues east, it may cross Highway 7 as it works towards Marquay. So again, Marquay is the next town we're going to be watching, or a decent sized town. We still have a lot of small communities, a lot of rural areas out here, and again, very distinct rotation that has been ongoing with this. And again, we're right now between that Cossie and Marquay area, and that rotation right in between the Twin Oaks Reservoir and the Headsville. So we're talking about Thornton, not Thornton up in Limestone County. This is a little community there just south of Highway 7. So again, just kind of wide view. The Thornton area in Limestone County earlier was under the warning. You're not under this anymore. Your threat has dissipated. And I want to go back wide again because sometimes it happens like this. One individual sail is all we care about. It is a quiet, muggy, but overall not bad evening across Central Texas. It's been this one storm that spun up around 5:15 to 5:30 that has been a consistent rotating storm. But this is the only one that we've got any real care about that's going on. And this is the reason that we've been on for a while. And again, this new rotation has significantly strengthened back up. We saw it cycle from the one to the other. And then that one is now showing a pretty decent signs. Again, you get these brighter kind of whitish reds and that whitish green color right next to each other. That's still very significant rotation that's going on with it. Again, we're not going to get a whole lot of spotter reports. Hopefully, as it gets closer to Marquay, we may have some reports coming from law enforcement and spotters there. Again, we're trying to get our Weather Explorer in a right spot. The problem we're running into here is the best road network is Highway 7, but that's right in the middle of the hail core, and you're having to go way down and around underneath this storm to try to get somewhere you can see it. So it's not an area where a road network's going to be that great. But again, still seeing the significant rotation. The hail core, not quite as crazy with this. And again, this is still have that chance that this could be a multiple vortex deal with this storm as it's continuing to work its way again near and just to the south of the Highway 7 area. We've had a couple different reports of potential multiple vortex with this storm, and all that means is you've got a more steady rotation with this storm, and there's smaller rotations that could be inside of this and continuing to move. And again, right near, again, just near and south of the Highway 7 area is where this is moving. So FM 797 is a deal there, again, crossing east and northeast of the Twin Oaks Reservoir. And it's going to be working eventually into parts of Leon County and towards the Marquez area is what we're watching with this storm. So again, this is what we're seeing right now. The storm winds are still very stout with this storm. Again, we saw it, if you've been watching with us, we saw it cycle from one rotation, split apart a little bit, a new rotation form. And the reports we're getting from storm spotters that are out watching this is it's still a multiple vortex of kind of a broad area spinning with smaller little rotations spinning around it. So it nearly looks like fingers dancing. It's it's going to be a scary thing to see if you've ever seen that firsthand. And we don't want you out there seeing it. We want you in somewhere safe with this. Folks in Kasi, I think overall we're good there. The hail threats come down. There's a good new update. And again, most of the rain, there's a few showers. We got lightning concerns mainly east of Kasi. So Kasi, you can probably get outside and see if you have any hail damage. Fortunately, the rotation is well southeast of you. The next town that we're really going to be watching is the Marquez area. Again, the storm right now is crossing FM 797 there in the northeastern portions of Robertson County. And here's Highway 7 that runs into the Marquez area. So this rotation is sitting just a mile or two south, if that, of Highway 7 and moving nearly parallel with Highway 7, working in the direction of Marquez. So Marquez is not officially under the warning, but this has been a consistent storm, and the National Weather Service, again, saying the radar signature is still consistent with a strong tornado, and they're going to keep that considerable tag in there. So, they talked earlier that this was showing winds of 100 to maybe 140 miles per hour. That's consistent with the storm that hit Temple last night. Now it's not moving through as much of a major metropolitan area, but still a very significant rotation. And we've got to watch out that this storm is going to be working towards the Marquez area here over the next half hour to 45 minutes. So again, it's moving just north of the Twin Oaks Reservoir there. Again, you can see where it looks white right next to each other. That is significant, what we call gate-to-gate shear. Shear is just winds moving in opposite directions. So the red's moving away from the radar, green's moving towards the radar, and that causes that counterclockwise rotation that's inside that storm. Again, moving through rural areas right now, so we're lucky that's not heading to major metropolitan areas as we speak, but still, we're watching it about to move over FM 797. You can see County Road 468 probably moving across that right now. And again, we're very, very close to this storm getting onto the Highway 7 area. Let's show you the last a little bit. That rotation still moving nearly right due east, pretty much parallel with the Highway 7 area. Let's see how far south that is. Yeah, within probably 2 to 3 miles. So just barely south of the Highway 7 area. And again, Marquez, you're going to be the next town that we're really, really watching with this because that rotation is going to come very, very close to the Marquez area. We got a new update from the National Weather Service. I mean, it's speaking the same stuff we're saying. Again, the warning runs until 8 o'clock. The confirmed large, extremely dangerous tornado located near Twin Oak Reservoir, about 20 miles south of Groesbeck, moving east at only 15 miles per hour. So this is one of those mornings where you have to kind of give it time for sure. We've had several weather spotters, and these are trained storm spotters that have been out that have confirm this, and that confirmation, that's why you see kind of the white around the warning. We have different categories. So again, considerable means that we're not talking just a weak little tornado. This could be a significant tornadic activity ongoing, and the radar signature, when you start looking at the velocity, is still screaming at us that there's likely a tornado on the ground, and it's probably likely a rather strong tornado that's moving through some rural areas of northern portions of Robertson County right now. So again, that warning stretches all the way to near Marquay. So Highway 79 is where we go from the Jewett to Marquay area, and then down in eventually towards the Franklin area. So we're going to really be focusing. Marquay is going to be our big focus area. Now, where exactly this rotation goes compared to Marquay, we're still a little ways away, because right now, again, the storm's moving at roughly 15 miles an hour. I'm not going to get too exact on the times because we're probably due for another radar update coming up pretty soon. Man, that signature is just screaming at us. I want to show you. So we're 10, 12 miles away. So we still got time in Marquay to be prepared, but you're talking about a significant rotation about 10 miles away from you that's moving at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, or 15 to maybe 20 miles per hour. So not a fast moving storm system that it's moving. So you've got some time, but again, this is a storm system that is showing rotation. I'm seeing some of the video that's getting sent in. What we're seeing is it's got a pretty significant overall rotation, and then there's little kind of fingers of the rotation. That's what we call multiple vortex. That means a vortex is just a spinning, pretty much tornado, but the multiple ones, they're kind of dancing around. They may not be coming in contact with the ground all the time, but again, they're definitely, the threat is there of a significant tornado that could be ongoing with this storm. And again, that rotation right now is sitting just to the northeast of the Twin Oaks Reservoir, pretty much crossing Highway 797 or 979 right now, and moving near and within a mile or two of the Highway 7 area there in the southern or northern portions of Robertson County. So to kind of give a wide view of where we're at, and again, we're on the eastern edge of our viewing area. I know I know I've made a lot of people mad, and I really, really apologize about that. But Central Texas is a large area. We cover a large area, and we have a significant tornado we're watching. Now, we are watching more activity out west, but that activity will likely be dissipating. I'm going to go out here real quick and show you. We have one severe thunderstorm warning, but that's going to more dive down into parts of the hill country. It is a quiet evening all across Central Texas except for one thunderstorm. And this one thunderstorm is a significant thunderstorm. I mean, we've been on the air for over 2 hours now, just with this one thunderstorm. That's how long of a prolonged track the storm has had, and having the history of several reports. And I really appreciate any of the first responders, emergency management, fire, all them that have been showing us, sending us these reports. And again, the rotation's still there. May have come down just slightly. That's good. I mean, we've seen a little bit of a decrease, but overall still, okay. We got another ham radio operator, storm spotter out there that's on Highway 79 watching and not seeing anything yet. So with that's probably the next staging area. We'll see a lot of our storm spotters sitting there on the south side of Marquay trying to see this storm. So we may start to get more observations as this storm gets closer to Marquay, because that's really the safest vantage point to try to get to where you can see stuff. We've got our Weather Explorer kind of on the way out there, and that's one of those, sometimes you drive a long ways to try to get a view of it. So, but again, that rotation is sitting again right just to the northeast of the Twin Oaks Reservoir, sitting just south of Highway 7, again in the north and northeastern corner of Robertson County. So it is approaching Highway 7. It's going to be approaching near and just south of the FM 937. So again, Highway 7 has been kind of the cutoff with this storm so far. Near and north of Highway 7, big hail up to near the golf ball. Near and south of Highway 7, that's where the strong rotation has been. So we have a storm with a consistent history of producing very strong rotation inside of it, and several reports of tornadic activity that's been going on with this storm for the last hour and a half, all the way since it really started. We had a brief spin up there near Bruceville Eddy, and then more consistent activity as the storm got closer to Chilton, Reagan, and then near in south of the Cossie area, and that's where it puts us right now. Again, this warning runs until 8 o'clock, and really if you live in the Marquay area, the slow movement of the storm gives you enough time to get prepared accurately. And even if a tornado's on the ground now, you need to be prepared that a tornado is likely to form. Again, the radar data is still screaming at us that there is a good likelihood that there's a tornado on the ground, and that tornado is rolling just south of Highway 7 and shifting east across the northern parts of Robertson County as we speak with this storm. Fortunately, we have not, I mean, it's been over rural areas, so we haven't seen any debris that's potentially been lofted up with this, but several reports of, again, multiple vortex style spinning around this general column of this storm that we're watching. And again, it's sitting just south of the Highway 7. And the slow movement of this, we don't get a whole lot of updates between individual scans, so we're kind of waiting for new updates that are coming in. So again, the National Weather Service just pretty much saying what we're saying. So that intense area of rotation right now crossing Highway FM 979, south of Highway 7, north of the Bald Prairie community. I know that's a small community, probably not going to show up on our map. So yeah, that's kind of where this rotation is sitting now. Again, sitting about 10 miles or so off to the west of Marquay. It's not a fast-moving storm, only moving at about 15, maybe 20 miles per hour. So we're talking about a storm that's still got a little time. That's why this warning runs all the way until 8 o'clock tonight. And it may get extended even further if this rotation continues to hold strong, because it has not shown any signs of really any major dissipating. Again, we're also starting to get a little higher up in the storm. Again, I told you, the further we get east with this storm, we get into an area where the radar just can't see as well because curvature of the earth and the way the beam hits, it's going to hit higher up in the storm. So the rotation may start to look a little broader, but that's just because we're hitting a little higher up in the storm. And hopefully we'll be able to get in an area as the storm gets closer to Highway 79 that we start getting some better storm spotter reports of this activity as it continues to work towards Highway 79. I do want to remind you about the tornado watch that's in effect. There's a pair of them. The one out west really doesn't have an impact on central Texas. That runs until 11 o'clock, the area that we're watching, and really it looks like it's this one storm. There's nothing else that's formed. We're past peak heating time, so it's going to be hard for a storm to form with this style of setup now that we're past 7 o'clock. But we still have a tornado watch, but it's really in that Robertson, Leon County, southern Limestone County area that we're the most worried about this one particular storm. So if you live in the watch area, it's best to pay attention, be prepared. But it's really this one single thunderstorm that's the big story right now. The only benefit when we start talking about the amount of destruction this storm could do is it is moving over rural areas, so there's not as many homes for it to move across, but it's still a very significant storm. You see that rotation has been pretty consistent with it as it's moved. It kind of recycled there just east of Highway 7 or east of Highway 7 or 14 as it was moving south of the Kasi area. Kasi, there's a little redevelopment of showers, nothing strong with that, but it's continuing to work its way. Let's see here. Yeah, so we were getting some other reports, a little delayed report from some of the fire departments still seeing rotation down in that area. So we're in constant communication. We have a chat that allows us and the National Weather Service, emergency management partners all across Central and North Texas to communicate and know what's going on as we're watching this. So I'm watching it here. Jillian Johnson, she's here watching on the radar as well. We have meteorologist C.D. Finley, who's out in our Weather Explorer trying to get position to get a view with this. We've got National Weather Service meteorologists doing a great job monitoring this storm as well. The rotation, again, not looking quite as impressive, so hopefully some good news there. But again, this is a little bit higher up in the storm where this elevation is. When you look at the reflectivity or the rain we're looking at, it still gives that hook indication with it. So still likely a pretty decent rotation and potential tornado on the ground there in the eastern or the northeastern portions of Robertson County, again, right near Highway 7. And again, folks in Marquay, you've still got a little bit of time, but you need to be knowing what to do if this storm approaches you because it's getting closer. It's not moving overly fast right now at about 15 miles per hour, but the distance-wise that it is, let's see, from kind of the center of this rotation, yeah, we're talking 8 probably miles away. So it's still working its way towards your area to definitely make it something that we're concerned about and want to pay close attention to. All right, so let's kind of recap all this for you. Warning runs until 8 o'clock. Still a source is that it's been observed tornado. This has been observed several times from several different locations that this storm has had significant rotation, tornado on the ground. We haven't had any reports from anyone here in the last few minutes, but again, it's moving through some rural areas there just south of Highway 7. It's crossing over, it's now east of FM 979 there in northern portions of Robertson County. It's still sitting just a mile or two south of Highway 7. The hail core is still pretty packful with this, and that's the other thing. There's hail falling near where this tornado is, likely in the $1/4 to $1/2, maybe even larger style setup with this storm. But the real area of rotation just south of Highway 7. So again, crossed east FM 979. Again, we're going to work right into Leon County once it crosses the river there. And then we start worrying about areas along Highway 79, again, particularly the Marquay community that's right there where Highway 7 and Highway 79 interact there. So no new updates coming from the National Weather Service. We're kind of... All right, so just checking, make sure we're going to get anything passed along. So I do appreciate that. I've had several people tell me thank you. The compliments are definitely appreciated. We normally just hear the complaints and not the compliments, but I do appreciate folks saying thank you. We're going to be here. You make people mad, but that's just part of the business. I definitely don't like to hear myself talk. That's the one that I always hear. People, Brady just wants to hear himself talk. I've been talking for 3 hours. Nobody wants to talk for that long, I can promise you. But yeah, so again, here's kind of the setup for you. We're waiting for new updates, new information. Nothing's really changed in the last few minutes. With it slow moving like this, you just don't get a lot of new info coming in. Again, the rotation, not quite as impressive as it was. I do want to preface that by saying it is in every scan we get, it's going to move higher and higher in the sky just due to the physics of how everything works and how radars work. And again, we're in an area where we're getting, unfortunately, a ways. I mean, the radar's all the way here in Williamson County, so it's shooting a long ways. And as it does, it continues to go straight out. The earth curves, we hit higher up in this storm. So we're seeing more kind of the mesocyclone, the rotation that's going on inside this. So, all right, so let's go back in here and kind of give you an update on what we're seeing with this. No new updates. Josh, y'all know where CD is by chance? I don't know if he's anywhere close to, he's in an area where I know the signal's bouncing in and out some, but you see me peeking up. I'm looking at we have a monitors here where I can see what, okay, thanks, sir. Let's go back and show you the hail core again. It's sitting right on Highway 7. Those blues like that are in the $1/4 to $1/2 size. So still seeing that potential with this storm here. Let's go back to. Give me just a second. I'm going to turn the lightning off real quick. But still a decent amount of lightning with this storm. I want to give you kind of the loop to show this storm. If you drew a line of Highway 7. This thing followed right along, and you're like a boundary sitting right there. So we got lucky. The storm missed the Marlin area for the most part. Hail was a big impact, but the circulation is what I'm talking about. It moved just south of the Cossie area, and now again, Marquay is the community that we're going to be the most worried about with this storm. Now, again, still a pretty significant rotation. When you see now, well, it'll be interesting to watch again. The hook's not looking quite as impressive as it did. It may be cycling some more. It is still, again, a storm that we're waiting for more storm spotters. We get that ground verification, we'll know a little better, but right now it's still in an area where there's definitely still some significant rotation with it, and it is going to be heading right into the Marquay area. So again, you can see that warning butts right up against Marquay. If you live in Marquay, you've got time now to go ahead and take your tornado precautions. Hopefully this storm will weaken, but you have a significant storm that has a track record of producing damage, track record of even some injuries with it, and a track record of having a tornado on the ground, and at times what we call a multiple vortex tornado that's been ongoing. So we've had significant rotation. That rotation, again, is in an area right now where we're going to start losing some of that data, unfortunately, because the rotation, again, is right out here. It doesn't look as good as it did a few minutes ago, but I don't want to point that that's just because it's not strong. It may be more that we're just hitting it high enough in the storm that we can't see real well what's going on with this storm. But again, it's moving pretty much due east. It is, and it may be cycling a little bit right now. That hook doesn't look quite as impressive as it did, but it's done this before where the rotation kind of gets pulled up in it and it ends up spinning up a new rotation. That would be another thing we need to keep in mind with this. if it does this, because it did this earlier when it was just off to the southeast of the Kasi area, and when it did, it slung out a new rotation out further that would speed up the process with it. So yes, the storm's moving 15 miles per hour, but it still can make new rotations that could go a little faster with it. National Weather Service pretty much echoing what we're saying. It's weakened some in the last few minutes, but still potentially a tornado just south of Highway 7 near County Road FM 472 and approaching the county line. So, I mean, they're seeing exactly what we're seeing. Again, we're showing you the exact same radar data that the National Weather Service looks at. So again, this storm is getting closer and closer to the Marquez area, getting close to crossing the county line. The river here is the county line between Robertson and Leon County. The warning right now only covers a sliver of Leon County. So it's going to be, again, Highway 79 right here in Highway 7 where they intersect is where the town of Marquez is. New warning is going to be coming out. The National Weather Service just confirmed that. It's going to include Leon, parts of Limestone, and Robertson County. So we'll have that pop up on the screen here in just a second. And that new warning runs until 8 o'clock. No. Oh, that's the one they're continuing. A new one will be coming out in just a second. All right. So we'll show that when it gets here. So let's see if there's any new data. So again, what you're seeing here, why, at times you see this where it has that big hook where you can see all the way through here. What's happening is this moisture is getting wrapped up in this. So sometimes it can wrap up enough cool air that it can kill the tornado, but sometimes, again, the storm can be strong enough to fight that, where their storm spotters can't see through the shards of rain going around it, kind of sheets of rain that get wrapped into it. It also can cycle sometimes, and we'll see that where the rotation will die out back here, but it'll end up reforming a new area of rotation that can be farther east in this particular case. And again, it's getting a lot more near Highway 7. Again, I told you Highway 7 starts to curve a little bit southeast towards Marquez. So I think our track of this staying south of Highway 7 may come to an end. But again, the Marquez area, a new warning is in the process of being issued by the National Weather Service that is going to have your community in it, Concord. We're still a ways from the Centerville area, but we'll see how far this goes out. But again, this new warning is going to cover a large portion of mainly Leon County for us with this system. So again, right now, sitting right on Highway 7. If you live at Kasi to Centerville, you do not want to be driving Highway 7. Here's that new update. Again, it's moving right on top of Highway 7 right now. And that hook looks a little more interesting. Oh, thank you. More water than what it did just a scan ago. So all right, here's the new warning. Let's so Marquez Jewett is under this. Centerville Leona, you're not under it right now. The National Weather Service usually only puts out in a certain kind of what they expect in the next, say, 45 minutes or so, because they want you to heed a warning, but there's research that shows if the warning goes out too far, people won't heed it and then they won't react when the storm gets close. So again, tornado possible, hail up to 2 inches. Again, we have not had any confirmed reports here recently of the tornado. We should start to get some better views as the storm gets closer to Marquez. The storm, again, moving east pretty much at about 15 miles per hour. Again, a very strong storm that has had a track record of producing a tornado. Let's go back into the velocity with this storm. We're pretty much going to have to fly off of this reflectivity. We'll give it a few more scans hopefully to see, but it's in a bad area right now distance-wise. We can see further with reflectivity is what we see here. That's just seeing the rain. The radars can detect the winds too based off of how it's bouncing off of stuff inside of the storm. We can see farther with reflectivity than we can velocity, just the way the science works out typically. But again, we've got a strong hook right here. Now in the last few scans, it's lifted a little bit more up to the north. Now, maybe that was probably when it was weakening a little bit. Typically, when the circulation weakens, it'll push, kind of go more of a left turn. If it tightens, it usually takes a little bit of a right-hand turn. Folks in Marquez, you really need to be in that tornado-safe area. Hopefully, this storm weakens nothing. You got in your tornado-safe area for no reason. That would be the best-case scenario. This storm has had a history of producing tornadoes. We need you to be prepared that a tornado is moving into your area as we speak. So take the correct precautions, get inside, get the family together, find the safest place in your room. It varies on homes. We do this talk with Project Tornado all the time with kids. Typically, it's the bathroom that's the safest place in your home. those aren't typically in the center of your home, but there's pipes in the walls that make the walls stronger. So if that's the best place, get the bathtub. If the kid's got a baseball helmet or a soccer helmet, or bike helmet, anything like that, put it on. Once you cover your head, find a pillow, sofa cushion, cover up, be in a safe area where you can put as much between you and that tornado outside. If your bathroom doesn't work, hallway, closet, somewhere more interior of your room, a house. Again, we want you on the lowest floor, as much interior as we can. And again, Marquay is really the community, the town we're watching now. This rotation has bounced just a little north, but if this circulation starts to increase, it may move right down Highway 7. So we're talking about the potential of it moving in and around the city of Marquay. So if you live in Marquay, you need to be taking the tornado precautions now. If you know anyone in Marquay, or if you live in Marquay and you know folks that may not be paying attention to the weather, give them a call, let them know what's going on. We have again, a significant storm that's working its way towards the Marquay area that has had a track record of producing a tornado. We have not had many reports here recently with this storm. Again, the velocity is getting where it's very hard to see, but there's still rotation there. Again, this is much higher in the storm than where we would see it even just an hour ago. But there is still rotation inside the storm that could be producing a tornado. It's not the violent rotation that we were seeing earlier, but that's not saying there's not a tornado with this storm right now. Hail size wise, still showing potentially up to some quarter to maybe $half size hail with this storm. You see that hail core pretty much right near. So what's going to happen, Marquay? You're probably clearing out from the rain. That doesn't mean you're in the clear. That means this rotation is getting closer to you. It's pretty much sitting right on top of Highway 7 as we speak, and it's going to be hard to see. I mean, I can just tell from the view. I'm watching our Weather Explorer. Trees a lot bigger out in our eastern counties than we have along and west of I-35. So it gets hard to see stuff, gets hard to be able to tell what's going on. And that's the view you see right there in the bottom of your screen. Yeah, so this is Highway 79. So what C.D. Finley, and we'll introduce you to him on air more officially whenever he gets on TV, he's just been driving our Explorer. He's on Highway 79 heading into the Marquay area. So what he had to do is circle way around this storm to try to get into a vantage point. But you're dodging hills, you're dodging weather, and you're dodging trees when you're talking about this kind of stuff. So finding a good vantage point is hard with this. So again, that's what we're seeing from our Weather Exploring, and meteorologist C.D. Finley is out keeping an eye on that, and that's the view we're getting. He's trying to get positioned in an area coming into the Marquay area to try to find area where he can see a good view of this. Folks in Limestone County, the warning is no longer in effect for you. Robertson County, yes, but the rotation is moving out. We're only talking about the far northeastern little corner of Robertson County where this is at. So all of Robertson County is pretty quiet, and really, when I zoom it out, all of Central Texas is quiet. And we are, Central Texas, the KWTX viewing area runs through Leon County. So this is as far east as we cover. Central Texas by demographics, where we cover is a very east-west. We're talking about 100 miles either way from the Waco Temple Clean area, are people that pick up our signal and watch our station. So again, this is a ways away from I-35, but again, still a very decent rotation right here. This warning covers about the western half of Leon County. Does not include some of the I-45 corridor or Centerville, doesn't include Buffalo. This rotation is going to move, stay south of the Lake Limestone area. I know we have some viewers there that are always worried about the weather there at the Lake Limestone area. Again, we probably get some hail there on the southern side of it, but the rotation is south of you. And again, it's taken a little jog to the north. That hopefully is a sign that the storm is weakening some, but it also is going to put that rotation and potential tornado right there. Again, we kind of show you the track of this, playing it back and forth. Again, that rotation's come up a little bit. And then we've got we have some people that are in between Jewett and Marquay. We have, again, our Weather Explorer that's south of the Marquay area. We have several sets of eyes that are trying to get their best vantage point to see this storm. So this is what you're seeing from kind of south moving in. This is typically the way we try to watch storms because there's no rain here. You got a little clear view. You don't want to be driving through the hail core and drive up into stuff. And that's why we tell folks there's no need for you to go outside and try to view it. We've got trained storm spotters that have been through the correct training, know what they're looking for, trained meteorologists like with our C.D. Finley. He went to OU. He knows plenty about storms and grew up right here in Central Texas. So he knows what he's looking at and trying to get to. So we're trying to get a good vantage point of this. Again, the rotation sitting right along Highway 7 right now. It has shown some signs of not being quite as strong as it was earlier. And again, the rotation may be sitting just on the northern side of Highway 7. So we don't completely trust the velocity at times right now just because of the distance it's away from the radar. But again, we're seeing more, hopefully, of a broader rotation that could show some signs of this storm weakening a little bit. But again, this is a storm that has had a history from all the way near I-35. That was for the first damage, and really that spun up real quick. We were in the middle of our 5 o'clock newscast. The storm went from just your regular run-of-the-mill thunderstorm, likely hit some kind of boundary. That's what happens on storms like these, and it is in an environment where once it started to spin, it blew up, tapped into still very warm, unstable air east of I-35, and that's what led this to become a supercell storm and a long-track supercell that has produced several likely tornadoes. Okay, so the Weather Service watching kind of that same area where I told you that it was moving north of, so now this rotation likes to dance. So now we're getting probably a new area. So everything has been south of Highway 7. Now there's a better rotation, maybe sitting just on the north side of Highway 7. So again, if you live anywhere in and around the Marquay area, this rotation is still moving on an east clip. It jumped a little bit to the north just in the last scan, but this has been shown to anytime the storm tries to wrap up and the rotation looks like it may be weakening, it spins up a new area of rotation. So it's cycling between these different rotations. That kind of fits in the multiple vortex that we're getting over. It's a lot of rotation spinning around that we're getting on top of from our reporters that are out and about. This is going to be sitting just south of Lake Limestone. Now this jog to the north has brought it a little bit north, but it's going to be just south of the dam there at Lake Limestone. So this is the Navasota River that it's just about to cross. So Highway 7 along the Navasota River, the county line between Robertson and Leon County. And again, the town of Marquay we've got to watch. Hopefully this jog north will stay north of you, but it has been persistently moving east, but it has been known to jog at times in different directions as well. As with this, so kind of had a mind of its own at times. All right, so let's go back to the reflectivity on this storm. And again, folks in Marquay, it's probably quiet, nothing going on in town right now. But again, that rotation is going to move right near or maybe just to the north of where you are. And again, the hail core is going to miss the Marquay area. That's going to be up Highway 79, FM 1146. That's going on as well. That's kind of that area there just north of Marquay that could be, that's likely seeing the more of that potential up to 2-inch size hail inside of it. Oh, okay, there. So you can see a little bit of the inflow looks like that's going into that. Yeah, so CD's starting to get a little closer to where a little more of the action's going on. So he's seeing that those bands that you see there, that's inflow that's moving into the thunderstorm. Sometimes referred to as a beaver's tail, that you can kind of see that flat kind of look to it on the bottom. But again, so he's getting closer into, so that rotation is sitting off to his left. So he's heading north, I believe, up into Marquay. And sometimes we have to take those observations because you see the big trees. So he's going to try to get set up in a good location for us to see what's going. But again, he's on Highway 79. You can see he's seeing some of the bigger, broad indications that there is a rotation ongoing inside of this storm. That's moving again towards the Marquay area. It may stay just north. Again, in the latest scan that we had, and this probably just a little delayed. I would assume this rotation is probably sitting right on the Navasota River right now. But again, in the latest scan, took just a slight jog to the north. I don't think we're going to get the bright colors like we had earlier just because it's getting higher up in the storm, but we're still seeing some pretty significant rotation inside this storm that could be, again, producing a tornado. Haven't heard any reports from many storm spotters or emergency management with this as of now, but we'll continue to be in contact with them. Again, this is sitting just off to the northwest of the Marquay area. So if we go from there, yeah, so we really hadn't got a whole lot closer than the last time I told you, but that's because it took that jog up to the north. I also think this is slightly delayed. We're due for a new scan update coming here pretty soon as this storm continues to move to the east and work its way towards Marquay. All right, so let's go and take his shot full if we could, and we'll kind of diagnose what.
There's not anything good up here, but we'll see.
All right, so yeah, so it's going to be a little hard to see, and you may hear CD talking a little bit there. He's talking with the guys. So CD's looking off towards the west, and if we can get between the yeah, so we can see him between the trees. He just confirmed and told us that he saw a wall cloud. So what a wall cloud is, that's kind of the building phase. Well, we can come back. We'll come back to him here in a second if y'all want. Maybe we'll get it. He's in between the trees and out on the edge of our viewing area, so cell phone signal is not great. But off west of where he is, as the storm starts to approach Highway 79, he is seeing the signs of rotation that is producing a wall cloud there. Again, we're hopefully get him somewhere where it's a little more settled. But he's trying to get north up Highway 79. He's again now going to try to get a little more on the side to see if he can shoot between the trees. So yeah, it's hard to see much, but. Yeah, so back where he's looking off there to the west, CD did notice a wall cloud. So I would say tell him to continue to keep scooting north and try to get to Marquez, and we'll watch that. So let's get back to the radar. We'll have his view there, kind of. All right, so again, so we got another storm spotter. It was 7 miles. Oh, Highway 7, 5 miles west of Marquez. I did see a cone come down, some good circulation. It's still showing where it's kind of trying, let me do with this hand, so kind of coming down, bouncing, and going back and forth. This has been kind of the way this storm has gone. It cycles, it strengthens, it cycles again. It's getting late in the evening. Hopefully it'll start getting into a little more stable air, but this storm's still fighting along as good as it can to try to produce a tornado. And again, we've got CD that's going to be getting in a better spot to hopefully see that. We've got other storm spotters, and again, all our spotters are fighting that same deal that CD is, that there's a lot of trees there. It's not the easiest area to see. He may end up having to go through Marquez and go north of there. Luckily right now, keep your fingers crossed, Marquez right now, this rotation may stay just north of you. Y'all are kind of in the bullseye, but this tornado has been nice and tried to avoid most major cities. So we'll hope that trend continues. But if you live in Marquez, we want you prepared. Again, this rotation has slid a little bit more north. It's sitting between Highway 7 and the Lake Limestone area. I still think it'll stay south of Lake Limestone, but again, it has taken a little more of a northerly jog, the overall rotation did with this storm. So kind of wrapping, see, maybe occluding into this. So something we'll keep watching. But overall, this back, let's take and I can show you kind of what it's done. So so if you kind of look, it was more on the south, kind of the southeastern part of this thunderstorm, and as it's going, that rotation's kind of getting slung a little more due east behind this rotation. And again, the overall supercell not looking quite as impressive as it did 30 minutes ago. All right, so I think we're seeing, is that the wall cloud he's got there in the distance? All right, so all right, there it is, kind of behind that tree right there. Well, you can kind of see, I think, that whole big thing there. Now that's the wall cloud, rather large wall cloud with that storm. So that lowering, kind of that barrel kind of look there, it kind of flares out a little bit at the bottom. So that's the wall cloud with this storm. So what the wall cloud is, that's showing that there's rotation and that condensation is dipping down a little bit further as it's pulling in that warm, muggy air. I mean, you can see how pretty still the air sits around there. So we're not seeing winds coming out of that thunderstorm towards where CD is. And again, I believe he's on Highway 79 there. And again, so he's just south of the Marquez area. There you go, I'm on TV. All right, so it's a little hard to see right now, but again, you can see this kind of blocked area that's down here. And you can see a little more lowering in there. But again, CD's seeing that wall cloud with a storm. You can see off there to the north, that's where the heavy rain and stuff is. So again, he's sitting just south of Marquez. He's probably 10 miles or so away from where this system is. So trying to peek through the clouds. And again, you can see more of that lowering in there. I don't know, guys, you can ask him if he's seeing any signs of any decent rotation with this. But yeah, so we're seeing, the wall cloud. We're seeing the structure of this. We're going to see some activity down there underneath, but it's hard to tell how much that's rotating. We'll get what's called scud clouds. There's those little disconnected clouds that shows that there's high moisture. Okay, so yeah, CD's seeing a little bit of a rotation in there, and you can see it would be right down in this area. We can see some of those clouds that are trying, and that's kind of been the way the system is done, that it's been trying to spin up. And again, the rotation, at least on the velocity, doesn't look as impressive now as it did earlier, but this storm has been known to cycle significantly. So again, you're taking a view from our Weather Explorer, looking off to the west-northwest, just sitting south of Marquez, looking off, this would be off kind of in the direction of Lake Limestone, would be off here to the north. So again, a rather large wall cloud. We've been watching underneath this. It'd be particularly probably right in this area, right where this tree is here, where potential rotation. But again, we've got a wall cloud. CD Finley, our newest meteorologist on the team here, noticing some rotation. Doesn't look anything violent right now, but again, this is kind of, and you can kind of see the barrel look of this. Sometimes they say it looks like a barber's pole, where you can see kind of the what we call striations kind of in this storm. That means that updraft just stacked right there over this. And again, this is where that rotation's ongoing. And we've been watching in kind of several areas with this, because that rotation has been weakening or kind of bouncing around. Again, the National Weather Service saying again that it's weakened some now that it's crossed Highway 79. Again, we'll keep an eye on what CD has there. So again, we've seen some good news when it comes to radar. We got a good vantage point of it now, so we'll keep an eye on that. Let me show you what the velocity. I mean, it's still very. It's kind of in that area that CD's looking at right in here. So that's where that wall cloud is located right there. Again, it's not quite as intense. We're hitting it higher up in the cloud. So what we're seeing is that this storm still has what we call a mesocyclone, a broad rotation inside of it. It has been known to cycle at times. Typically, when these systems move more of when the direction it's moving, when it moves more of a left kind of move, that typically is the signs that the rotation has come down. Typically when it pulls more to the right or southeast in this case, typically is a stronger rotation. There's another scan. So we've got back-to-back scans that this rotation may be finally starting to wear out. I say it kind of leery because we've been on this for nearly 3 hours. But folks in Marquez, I still need you to be safe. Folks in Jewett, if this holds together, you're about to get some decent hail, if nothing else, and a potential storm that, again, it's got some rotation. The hail core has become a lot higher on this. This could be that this storm may just be putting too much weight on the rotation, and if the downdraft's kind of winning out, that could kind of choke out the rotation on this, because you see that hail core is very close to right on top of where that rotation is. So it could be that this storm's just not getting the disconnect like it needs. It may have the downdraft and the updraft kind of right on top of each other, and it could be kind of squeezing out the rotation. That'd be best case scenario. But again, we've got a pretty significant hail core that's sitting just north of Marquez. Right now, folks in Marquez, the rotation looks like it's going to stay north of you. Still would like you to stay in your tornado safe area. We've got a view from just south of Marquez that we're trying our best to get a good view of what's going on with this. But again, the rotational signs have come down. We are hitting this way up in the sky, so we're getting the broad rotation. Again, you can see from CD's view, he's looking north up Highway 79. You can see that big barrel kind of look. That's the big kind of the mesocyclone of this storm with this active storm that's going on. But again, we're not seeing it down to the ground style rotation that's giving that big tornadic signature with it right now. So that's good. We still have the hook with this storm. And again, we still have this hail core that's sitting just south of Lake Limestone, likely be working into the Jewett area. It'll be really interesting to watch the next scan or two. So probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes, we should have a pretty good idea of overall kind of the health of this storm. Again, it's still a very impressive supercell there. It's one of those kind of pretty to view. I'm sure CD's getting a pretty view there, but you can see a lot of storm spotters and people probably stopped hopefully heeding the warnings not to be out in the middle of this. But if we can take his view back up again, I mean, this is you get the kind of the overall size view of this. And a lot of times in Central Texas, we don't get, particularly in our southeastern counties, where we can see a thunderstorm that well. You'll see, again, kind of what we call striations. So you're going to see up and CD's going to give us a view here to the west. But again, I mean, it is an impressive looking. You can see in between the trees, as we're dodging back around here, some of the more where the, so yeah, it's not even showing it. It's still got a little bit of, the wall cloud's definitely not as impressive as it was, but you can still see, you see that lighter color and kind of that band that's right there. Again, that's showing the broad rotation. I would say this is probably the wall cloud sitting off there just to right behind those trees there. But again, we've got still a rotating storm. I think the tornadic threat is coming down with this. But again, still the broad rotation, and that's kind of the building blocks of that potential tornadic activity. So we can go back to the radar, guys, and again, what he's looking at is up at this activity right here just right across FM 1146. So that's north of Marquay, again, just off Highway 79. That's the area that's right in the middle of this rotation right now. Again, the scans have come down some. We've seen a decent, at least 2 scans in a row where the intensity has come down. So that's good news. We just need a little more consistency before we drop our guard any on this storm, because we don't want to do that and this storm will start to strengthen back up. So we're watching it here. National Weather Service is watching it where they are. We are continuing to keep a close eye on this storm as it continues to work its way towards Highway 79 to try to get the very latest of what information we can on this thunderstorm. So here's the look at the velocity. Still that broad rotation again, and CD is seeing kind of the view of the visual representations that this is a rotating thunderstorm. Maybe not quite tight enough right now to produce a tornado, but again, still that barrel look to it. Again, the view at times that we see the wall cloud in this storm, but you can kind of see how over to the right-hand side there where he's looking behind those trees, there was a big shaft of rain. That's probably the rain and hail core that has been right around where that rotation is there. So what you're seeing where he is there, that's looking right in this area and looking up north up into this area of rotation here. So he's looking at this big supercell thunderstorm. Again, it's crossing right over FM 1146 just on the north side of Marquay, likely to move just south of Jewett. Again, Jewett, we got a decent hail core there. And again, you can see CD's got a good, nice view of it there. Again, his is still a little bit away, but he will be able to see any potential rotation there, kind of finally getting a spot where there's not too many trees for him to battle against. Right now, we have a warning that runs until 8:30 that covers a pretty large portion of Leon County. The threat has worked out of Robertson County, so that's good news. But the threat now is more in the Leon County area. I believe CD's more in the Jewett area right now, or the Marquay area now, sorry, looking off towards the northwest at this storm. He's got a good broad view. Again, not seeing, y'all can check with him, double check guys, but I mean, not seeing anything that shows any significant rotation with this storm. So we've seen that decrease, but this is a storm that has had significant track record of showing intensification, kind of a movement of the rotation with it. So we're going to stay with this. While we're waiting for the next data coming in, and we did just get an update from the National Weather Service. They are confirming from yesterday 2 tornadoes with this storm. We got the one that was in the Temple area. That was an EF2. It was on the ground for nearly 3 miles, winds of 120 miles per hour. The other tornado that was southeast of Temple, more down near the Seton area. That was an EF1 tornado on the ground for a little over 2 miles as well. And then winds of 95 miles per hour. And then we'll continue to keep an eye on this storm. I think there was likely at least a couple times that a tornado touched down. And again, right now the storm may be transitioning more into a hailer. Is he saying anything that he sees visually, guys, that is showing anything to him? We don't have it set up where we can talk directly to him right now, but yeah, no, it's okay. Unless I think, yeah, we're not, looks like it's getting a little more ragged, so that's definitely good news. Okay, yeah. So CD's seeing some broad scale rotation right now. And again, that's matching up what we're seeing, so that's good news. But we're going to give this another, let's see what the latest scan. So still got decent broad scale rotation. Folks in Marquay, it looks like this is going to stay just north of you. I guess we'll have to watch if this continues to take more of a northeasterly direction. It's going to start moving a little more along Highway 79, a little more possibly towards Jewett, but Marquay, it looks like north of you is where this system's going to go. So that's good news. Again, it's more broad rotation. We've got about 15 minutes left in this warning. We have not heard any reports of any ground truth. We've got a good, at least a little ways away view from CD there, looking at the structure, and he should have a pretty good view of seeing the rotation that could build up with this storm. So again, that's moving its way right towards Highway 79. Going to be crossing FM 1146 some of the roadways that we're watching with this, and now we're going to have to watch for the potential that this moves to the Jewett area. So if you live in the Jewett area, again, a storm that has the potential to produce a tornado. Right now, from the vantage point that we have with our Weather Explorer, and we haven't heard anything from any emergency management folks out there right now, the threat of a tornado on the ground is starting to diminish some, but a storm that is definitely still strong. And we just got, the Weather Service kind of saw what I saw there. There's a little bit of a re-strengthening. It's a little unbalanced, but the storm's still not giving up by any means. So there's some concern between Marquez and Jewett that this storm still could produce a potential tornado right along Highway 79. So the view you're seeing there is looking north up Highway 79 towards this storm that's trying to work its way, again, sitting just to the west of the highway there, working to the east, northeast right now, and it could work its way right up towards the Jewett area. That rotation crossing over FM 1146 in Leon County, and is going to be moving pretty close to Highway 79 as it's moving right along County Road 344 that starts out there along Highway 79 and then veers off, and here's that new update. And this also showing too, your CD's probably having a hard time seeing between the rain and the rotation because it's so close, that hail core and that rotation. So he's panning off to the left a little bit, so that'd be looking a little more here, a little off, and then where you see the hail core was. Okay, so we're going to reposition him, get him a little closer up to this storm where we're near it. So again, what you're seeing on the right-hand side of your screen there, that's the hail core, but this rotation is rather close to that. So it gets a little harder to differentiate between where the area of good rotation is and where the hail core is with the storm. And another scan where it's just not looking, we're getting kind of back and forth. So the storm's struggling a little more. You can see it's kind of pulsing right now compared to when it was pretty consistent, but that rotation is moving, or at least the path of the rotation is kind of moving kind of more. All right, so so here's so CD's got, so what we would be watching is right in here. So this is the wall cloud, and you see kind of a dip down there. That would be kind of where some of that tighter circulation could be ongoing with that storm. CD's trying to get position where he can see, but again, this little area here, it's hard to tell if it's an attempted funnel kind of go or it's just all kind of big where the wall cloud is with this storm. But you can definitely see some lowerings that are trying to go on with this, but right now nothing down to the ground. Hopefully we can get him a little further north past these buildings and we'll see. Again, he's on the road heading up towards the Jewett area. This is looking off towards the just to the west of Highway 79. Again, we've got lowerings with this, but nothing that's down on the ground. CD giving us a good view of what's going on. Again, near this is where that hail core is too. So the vantage point definitely not going to be overly great at any given time, but he's trying to find a good spot where he can sit and give us a good view of this. Also manage the traffic there. But yeah, a good view of, again, this would be the base area where we'd be watching. You can see all the storm chasers that are out watching this storm as well. So you can tell this is the only storm of interest because you have, it's like parking lot out there along Highway 79. So there are a lot of folks out there trying to keep an eye on this storm. CD's one of those. Again, we'll get him to park here and kind of get where he can move the camera around. But again, he's watching this storm, as are a lot of folks that are out there watching. But again, right now we're not, you can see a little lightning in there. That's still showing some signs of possible rotation. But again, it would be right in here, kind of where we'd be watching. Again, you see a little bit of lowering there, but it doesn't look like anything of major. Yeah, so yeah, that should keep moving. So yeah, where the best area of rotation, again, is going to be moving past this tree area here. So again, this is looking, again, we're on Highway 79 between Marquez and the Jewett area. We've got an area of pretty decent rotation there. That's where kind of the wall cloud is, where the lowering is. You can see we've got a ton of storm spotters and storm chasers out there trying to get a view of this storm as well. As of now, nothing that's down on the ground. Again, that area is moving right past where that tree is there. So this would be your wall cloud with this storm. Again, we're watching to see, I mean, it's still got inflow going into it. It's still an area where so CD's getting us, So yeah, you can tell it's very close to where that rain shaft is there right next to it. But yeah, so we've got a good view of the wall cloud. If anything was going to come down from that, I think we're in the vantage point where we'd see something with it. Again, this is the view from our Weather Explorer sitting just north of Marquez, looking off towards the north and northeast. Again, not quite to the Jewett area, kind of in between there. This is the area of rotation. This is the area that we've had tornadic activity with this. Again, it has slowed down some. It is not quite as tight of rotation as we saw earlier, but still an area that could spin up a tornado at about any given time. Again, this is a kind of a broad wall cloud kind of area here that we're watching, but it's really right in this area here. That's where that more solid rotation is, and that's why we get a little bit of that lowering there. Not quite to a funnel cloud stage, but again, that's the area we're watching inside of the storm. So again, you're watching a live view on Highway 79 from our Weather Explorer sitting between Marquez and Jewett, looking off to the west and northwest. This storm has a tornado warning on it. Again, the good thing with having our Weather Explorer out there, we can give you 100% visual of what's going on. Again, CD got in a great spot here to see. Again, this would be the area where we would see the potential tornado here just off to the left of there. Guys, can y'all ask if you've seen any visual signs of any strong rotation? I can see some of those scud clouds off to the kind of the east of that wall cloud. So these scud clouds are feeding up into there. So that's a sign that there's moisture feeding in, warm, muggy air that's feeding into this thunderstorm. So that still shows this storm is still pulling in inflow, still pulling in unstable air. Okay. So CD did see a funnel cloud right when they first, it was kind of again right around that tree area. So it's still trying to be. So we still got the wall cloud here. Earlier, just a few minutes ago, you can see this little cloud here. So that's probably going to get sucked and pulled right into that. So again, that's what we call scud clouds that's working into it. So again, this is kind of the area we're watching right now. You can see some of that rain that's trying to get pulled and wrapped around into it. So this is that area where that strongest rotation is ongoing inside of this storm right here. And that's where the potential tornado could be ongoing. And again, we're sitting on Highway 79 north of Marquez, south of Jewett, looking off towards the west on Highway west northwest on Highway 79. And you can get to see a lot of those straggling of these clouds trying to pull up into here. So again, it'll be right in this area here where there's, it gets a little hard to get the contrast between the clouds and the rain, but this would be in the area. And you can kind of see where there's multiple little areas dipping down. We've had several reports of what they call a multiple vortex tornado. And again, that's the kind of concerns we get with these kind of storms here, where it's a lot of different, the rotation keeps moving around and changing. But again, this is sitting a few miles just off of Highway 79, just to the southwest of the Jewett area. Again, the rotation, fortunately, not as impressive as it has been. Overall, the radar indications getting a lot less, but again, even CD saying you can see a funnel trying to form. Overall, threat coming down, but not completely gone. So again, we've got the warning that runs for another 7 minutes. We'll stay in communication with the National Weather Service. We'll stay with it. We're going to stay with it. We've been here this long. We're going to stay with this warning until we have a good feeling from us, the National Weather Service and CD out there watching it, that we're not dealing with something that still could spin up a tornado. But you can see this storm has started to lose some of its strength. Give me a second, guys. My IFB's battery's going dead. But again, that tornado warning runs until 8:30. So we got a few more minutes left on that warning. We have not heard any communication from the National Weather Service of plans to extend that warning. So hopefully this will be the last one. But again, we're still seeing signs of rotation with that storm that's moving through. And again, it's sitting just near and southwest of Jewett. The view that you're seeing there on the corner of your screen, that's from CD Finley looking at the rotation. The good news is he has not seen anything make it down to the ground. Did see a funnel for a little bit, seeing a pretty persistent wall cloud. And you can kind of see just that soupy look to it. And that's because with his vantage point here, he's trying to look at an area of rotation, but then you've got all this rain and potential hail that's in and around it. And you see that hook continuing to kind of go away. Still showing, you can kind of see that kind of bell look there where that lighter color is on CD's view. So there's still some updraft definitely in this storm, but we may be finally getting to the point where this storm finally is about to give up. I think we'd all be ready for that. Hail core not as bad as it was either. Again, rotation it's still there. It's still spinning. And you, like I said, that matches the visual clues that CD is giving us. But again, that's not as impressive, not as violent as it was earlier. So again, we've got another 5 minutes left with this warning. So we'll make sure we're in the clear before we step away from anything. But again, the folks in the Jewett area, well, yeah, we've got a new one. So there's the National Weather Service still worried about when you get higher up in the thunderstorm that the rotation is strong enough that we could just about any minute spin up a tornado. So I was rooting for us to not have one, but yeah, that's so. Again, this storm, it's going to be one of these ones where it may not last all that long, but again, the updraft inside this thunderstorm, where you can see there on CD's screen there on the right hand side, you kind of see that dark color, but then it's light underneath it. That's the updraft continuing to strengthen up inside that thunderstorm. So the right hand side would be kind of the updraft side of that. And again, we're watching again kind of this ragged looking kind of wall cloud here. That we're watching. Again, a little rain on the lens there, but again, it would be right in this area, kind of that ragged area where we're seeing that wall cloud dipping down. That's kind of that area that CD's seen funnel clouds develop, and you got traffic and a lot of storm chasers out there. You see all the blinking lights on the side of the road. So again, this is looking at the storm that again it'd be right in this area. So here's Highway 79 just off to the west. CD is approaching the Jewett area. We're watching this storm, seeing if there's any down to the ground rotation. But right now, again, it's a pretty steady wall cloud. You can see the rotation part, what we call the mesocyclone, where we get higher up in the thunderstorm. You can definitely tell that kind of barreled look like that, and you get these lighter colors in here. That kind of shows that the overall thunderstorm is rotating around. So the building blocks are there. It's just right now down at the ground, the rotation not as good. So let's see. So this new warning includes the Buffalo area. Folks in Jewett, you need to be prepared. You got a potential tornado that's knocking on the door of where you live. Again, the radar indications not quite as impressive as they were, but again, still the building blocks are there. A storm that's capable of producing a tornado right now, just sitting just outside of the Jewett area, and then we're going to have to watch this storm as it potentially moves up towards the Buffalo area and starts to cross over I-45, and a lot of traffic that it could interact with. And CD's got a great view there. You can definitely see, the updraft with this storm. Big area here that we're watching. Again, is probably. Is it look out there on the left-hand side? Is that a funnel that's trying to touch down, or is that just some low clouds? Sorry, we're trying to communicate. But again, out here it looks like another trying to spin up a funnel cloud there. He'll have to give us a better idea of what the actual rotation's looking like. But again, you got the big updraft here. You can see this big tall storm here, this rotation, and then what you'll get kind of the wraparound here, and that's kind of where that potential rotation could form there. And again, we're a potential tornado or funnel cloud at least trying to form there. Okay, all right. So not seeing that as being that's more okay, and whatever it wouldn't. Thanks, CD, for that. So yeah, not a funnel cloud trying to put there. You get a lot of clouds that will make it look scary even when it's not. So again, we've got the storm here. Right now, it's just kind of on a wait and see kind of deal, see how much it strengthens over the next few minutes with it. Again, the new tornado warning was issued that runs across I-45. That does include the Buffalo area and I-45 areas. Again, that runs until 9:15. The storm is showing some signs of weakening, but the National Weather Service concerns is that the kind of what's driving this storm, the mid levels of this storm, the circulation there is still strong enough that we could see kind of a rebuild up with this storm as it continues to possibly make it down to the ground. We're also getting an area where it's a little harder to see. What we're seeing right here is that's kind of what's looking at where CD's looking right in there. So this is where that rotation is sitting just past where he is, pretty much right on top of or just to the left of the Highway 79 area there, just near and southeast of Jewett. So that's the area he's watching. And again, we can see that broad area of rotation. That mesocyclone is what the term is that we're watching there. And again, that rotation is kind of the driving force that can build a wall cloud, a funnel cloud, and eventually a potential tornado. Again, we're not seeing any of that right now. But we got the best vantage point you're going to have of that storm as CD's continuing to move up Highway 79, trying to dodge the trees and give us a good view of that. And again, the overall structure is not looking as impressive. We did get a report of some $half size hail just to the west of the Jewett area, so that kind of matches as what we were seeing. Well, that's come down significantly too. So I'm going to show you the last hour of the hail, and you can see it dumped a good bit over just areas just south of the Marquez, or just south of Lake Limestone between there and Marquez. But that hail core definitely not looking quite as impressive. So everything I'm seeing is pointing good news for us. again, I don't want us to drop our guard. We have the kind of the building blocks that could be there, but overall this thunderstorm is definitely looking a lot more ragged than it did just 15, 20 minutes ago. You can kind of see as it moved, really once it moved north of Highway 79, it started to lose some of that circulation, and now again working up towards the Jewett and Buffalo area. But again, folks from Buffalo, Centerville, you're under this warning. This storm is going to stay north of you. It's really going to be really much from near and just south of Buffalo on I-45. And then again, Highway 79 going from the Jewett area up towards the Buffalo area. And again, you can see where CD's view is. Again, he's seeing a good, definitely still a decent updraft inside this storm where he's looking right now. But it would be more over here on the left where we're just not seeing. Hopefully we get in between some trees here and kind of see, but it would be in this area over here to the left that we'd be watching the potential of any lowering or development, but that's been less. You can still see a little lowering there, but again, nothing that's been showing any major signs of anything that's coming down towards the ground. And we're getting, again, some ragged looking clouds that sometimes can look meaner than what they are. We're still seeing, again, you see some of these scud clouds getting lifted up into the thunderstorm. So that's still inflow that's going into the storm. So the storm hadn't completely, sometimes they'll go what we call outflow dominant. And again, this would be, I guess, the wall cloud area that we're still watching here. So again, you got the kind of the updraft, and then you kind of get the wraparound area here. It's what we call a rear flank downdraft that sometimes will wrap around these storms. So it would be in this area where we'd be watching the potential. And again, you see it down lowering, but I don't think it's anything that has got us worried that it's actually funnel or tornadic. You're not seeing a lot of anything violently spinning around. So I mean, the pieces are there. We're just not seeing a lot that's saying anything's making it down to the ground now. So it's nice that we've got this view here. And again, for folks that are screaming at their television, I really apologize. We are trying to do our best to keep people safe with this. We would prefer not to be on TV following this, and I know the threat looks like it's coming down, but we want to stay with this because if we start jumping on and off during the tornado warning, it gets where it's hard to keep people warned. So again, we're going to watch this storm, at least give it a few more scans to make sure it's nothing that we're overly worried about. And again, we've got a great view there live of what's going on from our Weather Explorer. And that gives us a good idea of kind of what's going on with it. Again, the hail core not as bad. Overall, the velocity's still there some. It's just not as well organized as what we were seeing. But again, I can show you, it's still showing that kind of broad. So this would be the area over here that CD's looking at to the left of your screen, or to the left of west of Highway 79. So he's seeing, again, the area to the right, it's this area more the updraft here. The potential rotation would be sitting over there to the west, to the left on your screen of Highway 79. And the good news is we're not seeing anything that's just screaming at us that a tornado's on the ground or anything like that. So you can see that lowering there. You can see, again, some of the scud clouds that are filtering into it. But again, the good news is we're not seeing anything overly bad. So that's definitely good news with it. But you can see that kind of lowering there. So this would be your wall cloud here. We got a lot of low clouds in below it, but it's just more stuff that's feeding up into the updraft of this storm. So right side here, that's where the rain earlier was hail, probably not as much hail now. That's more your downdraft. Here's over here where the updraft is, and that's still feeding moisture up into it. It's usually right in that area near that wall cloud where we can get the rotation that can sometimes dip down to the ground. But again, we're not seeing that right now. CD trying to get to a good spot. We see that definite lowering there, but nothing that's showing, hey, a tornado's making it down to the ground, but still a healthy storm that we're watching right now. So losing a little bit of a signal there. I mean, all right, let's take you back to the radar and we'll show, again, no updates. Yeah, guys, we're getting to the point where this one's just about petered out. Can y'all ask CD just make sure if he's seen something that's rotating more than me, because I'm to the point where this thing's just about dead. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So yeah, folks, let us make sure. Like I said, I don't want to bounce back and forth just on something that one scan can give us the false impression. But you're seeing a wall cloud there from this thunderstorm. You can see to the right of that where that kind of look a little wedge there. That's moisture feeding up into. Yeah, so we've got a strong updraft with this, but I think what we can probably do now is I would say let's step aside here for just a little bit, kind of let everybody regroup. Folks in Jewett, the tornado threat, there is a tornado warning for you. There's no imminent tornado threat right now. The storm has significantly weakened. What we're going to do is we're going to step away. If by chance any of the rotation strengthens or anything we see or the Weather Service sees that says there's more of an imminent tornado threat, we will be right back on. So folks in Buffalo, stay tuned. We will keep you updated on air, online, and we'll continue to keep checking in with CD Finley. But we'll step aside for a little bit as long as this tornado threat looks low, and we'll be back with updates as needed.